Ahoy hoy, and welcome to the third episode of Rush of Stupid. I am here today with Hugh Jarsz.
Greetings and salutations, how are you?
And currently we don't have anyone else, unfortunately.
Well, I'm big enough for two people.
True, so that's always a positive there, so let me just click over to... And I also noticed recently, I can actually check right now, but when it comes to members, I think we're only 2 members away from actually getting another emoji for members. Although I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to just... Oh wait, no, 3 members away. Damn.
Well, I could drop out of Patreon and become a member instead if you want.
I think I'd probably lose more in that regard, honestly. Because I don't enable tiered memberships because, honestly, I don't have many perks for them. But, you know, there's always emojis and badges and all that, so that's always a good thing, I think.
Well, you know, we little channels have no idea what you're talking about yet. I haven't got memberships yet.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that I got them as early as I did.
I think they're giving them out because they know that it generates money for YouTube, so they're quite happy to give memberships out.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll start off with this particular tweet that I saw. Where it was... And this is the scary thing. This person is verified by the looks of it. Right? That's the scary thing. So I'll go through it. Deanna Lorraine says, I find it very interesting how on the show Masked Singer hit America in January 2019, a little bit over a year before they started forcing us all into masks. It's almost like they were beginning to condition the public that masks were normal and cool. The media is demonic. And then she says, I struck a chord tonight with my tweet since the whole Soros-paid blue check brigade is out in full force tonight. I really wonder what he pays these hacks. Seriously, mock this all you want. You leftists have allowed yourself to be completely taken over and become absolute sheep. Try for once to think critically rather than just what the Soros bought and paid for media shoves in your face. Wake up!
Well, the first thing that strikes me there is that she's part of the blue check brigade. She's got one.
Yeah. Maybe she's...
And second of all, calling people absolute sheep, well, that's offensive to Kiwis.
True. And Welsh people. But, you know, it's like, why would there be people paying for masks? What is the whole conspiracy to put people in masks all about? Why do they want people wearing masks? Apart from the simple fact that it stops diseases from being spread.
Well, I also thought it's odd that they're complaining about, well, first of all, in this point, the Masked Singer, it's not the same sort of mask. It's a mask that completely covers their identity. That's the point of the show. And second of all, with the mask conspiracy, now we're getting all this facial recognition technology just coming in about the same time as the masks are going on. It kind of defeats the purpose of the technology. If everyone starts wearing a mask, you can't identify people anymore through the technology.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's sort of anti-conspiracy in that regard.
True. But another thing, right, is what about... Slipknot.
Yes.
Like, what about them? Are they part of the conspiracy? I mean, I think I actually have one of their albums here somewhere.
And they've been part of the conspiracy for years, you know?
Yeah.
Decades, even. I remember John Safran once paying a bunch of people to arrive in a limousine outside a Swish nightclub, and when Slipknot were actually in town, and then walk into the nightclub in their Slipknot masks as if they were Slipknot. and they'll let it straight in because they thought they were.
See, there is one downside to wearing masks. Well, I mean, to everyone wearing masks. I mean, if you Slipknot, then people can be...
And masks have been in vogue for bank robbers for years, back to the days of the Wild West.
True. So, there are problems with people wearing masks, but the reason why you should wear a mask is because it means that you don't get sick. Well, it lowers the likelihood of you getting sick, and it means that you don't get others sick. That's the important thing, not getting other people sick.
But it's sort of not saying that you don't want to wear a mask is sort of like saying you don't want to wear a seatbelt because you've got an airbag in your steering wheel. I mean, it's just a stupid idea.
True.
It's a collective activity. Everyone is better off if everyone wears a mask. And that's the bottom line. And it's been proven through this pandemic and in previous pandemics.
Yeah. I do enjoy this tweet, though. It's quite funny. I really do hope that a Democrat is elected president this year so Trump supporters have access to the mental health care that they badly need. And
yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think Americans do need health care really badly.
Well, they have for years, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the next thing that's on the... We've actually got quite a bit on the show for tonight, so... Alright, here we go. Although I did lower the amount of stuff in the first sort of part, so it shouldn't drag on for 1.5 hours. But we'll see.
Well, we don't have AB Science here dragging the chain, obviously. So. And that's a joke. I really love AB Science. I reckon he's the smartest guy I know.
Okay.
And I love it every time he talks. So just in case anyone's confused, I was being sarcastic.
I can't remember why I put this one in. Oh. So, the main thing that...
she's the governor.
So... I can't remember what the video was. Let's take a quick look at the video.
We do social distancing in our state.
That was great.
Less COVID, more hunting. That's the plan for the future. Kristi Noem, Governor of South Dakota.
Okay, that was interesting. But anyway, the thing that I wanted to point out is this guy here. So...
Well, the comment.
Yeah, so the Sofane said, meanwhile, COVID-19 cases and deaths are at an all-time high in Governor Redneck state, right? And this person here said, dude, the flu spreads and kills more than COVID ever will. Stop the fear-mongering. Now...
That's just wrong.
It depends what he means, right? Because if you're talking about yearly, well, COVID has killed far more this year than the flu ever has, right? Or than the flu has in any year. Apart from maybe Spanish
flu.
Yeah, Spanish flu, right?
Which is probably a variant of COVID or some other SARS type virus anyway. So, but yeah.
But if he's talking about like the whole time it's ever been in existence, right? So, and that's probably what they're going to be like. I think all these people that say, "Oh, the flu has killed more people than anything," they're probably going to go, "Well, out of all the time that it's been around, the flu has killed more." But I mean, yeah, it's been around for a fucking long
obviously
time.
A false comparison. Yeah, it's obviously a false comparison. So
I love how all these conspiracy nuts actually say, "Oh, the flu has killed this amount of people," and they were doing it since the start of the year. They're saying, "Oh, look how many people COVID has killed." And it's like, I'm going to be laughing when it kills far more than what you are than what you're saying that it ever will, because it hadn't, like earlier this year, it hadn't spread everywhere. Now it has. Now we can see the true impact of what it can do.
It's weird that people want to laugh at people dying, but it's not a competition. the fewer deaths we have, the better. So, it's sort of a really weird point to put out there and be emphatic about.
Well, when I say laugh, I mean laughing at their stupidity, right? Unfortunately, though, their stupidity is dangerous. That's the thing.
Yes.
Their stupidity is dangerous, and despite the measures that we've taken, there are still a large amount of cases of COVID. And it is largely due to people spreading misinformation about COVID.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the Kate Shemirani protest in the UK. That is exactly the sort of thing that caused the outbreak in Victoria that we've recently had here in Australia. They had a Black Lives Matter protest, which puzzled me because what's that got to do with Australia? That's very much a US thing. We have our own issues here, and you can have your own protest about that, but you don't have a protest about someone else's issues. We've got enough of our own. But that was in the middle of a pandemic, at the worst part of it, but sort of at the point where we thought we'd got a handle on it. They had this meeting of several hundred people, and suddenly COVID cases explode.
Yeah.
And several people died, and that's the tragic part about it. We must have our right to protest, absolutely. You don't have to do it in person, though.
Yeah.
Especially in a pandemic.
Yeah, when it comes to the protests, I don't think that they're the best move, honestly. Now, I do like the fact that in some of the protest footage that you see, you've got a lot of people wearing masks. That is good, right? At least they're wearing masks, but masks aren't 100% effective, right? That's why
it's risk minimization.
Like social distancing, masks, and hand sanitizer and all that. A combination of those three things is really effective. But the best thing to combat coronavirus is stay the fuck at home, right?
Yep. Less contact you have, the less likely it is. It's all risk minimization. You can never absolutely stop it, but the more you do the risk minimization strategies, which are the things you just listed, the more likely it is that it won't spread. And that's what we want. And if we can get it to the point where there is no coronavirus anywhere anymore, then we can all go back to work. Yeah. When the thing first hit back in March, when it hit in strength anyway, there were memes going around saying the longer you stay at home, the longer you won't have to. But people ignored that, and here we are 6 months later, and it's still going strong. And in fact, having a second wave at least, or maybe even a third.
Yeah, well, what I've been able to do recently, which I absolutely love, is I've been able to go outside and hang out with friends and all that, because in New Zealand, we're at level 1 because they managed to contain the virus. Now, granted, we are a smaller country, so so it is much easier to manage a virus in a smaller country. But, we still managed to get a handle on things. So... Yeah,
and you didn't have silly protests that were irrelevant to your country anyway.
I think there were...
that kind of thing, spreading it around.
I think there were a couple of silly protests, but... Because I don't think that the police in New Zealand are quite as bad as the police over in America, right? So I do understand the American protests, but at the same time... I do think that there are problems with doing it during a pandemic. But then at the same time, there's it's very complicated. So I don't know if I really have a position to say what they should or shouldn't be doing. So,
well, the police anywhere in the world have the toughest job in the world. They have to deal with the scum of society so that the rest of us don't have to. So, all respect to the police wherever they are. All disrespect to corrupt police, of course, but the good police would say the same thing. But it's a different system in the US. They do it by county, basically, I think, from memory.
Okay.
And whereas here in Australia, we do it by state, and in New Zealand, well, you're effectively the same as a state in terms of size of Australia. So you have a national police, so you don't need the federal police like we have on top. And that sort of gives a bit more control of the police, and it's a smaller unit. There's not so many in it as well. Whereas in the county, you've got, some counties might have 3 police officers, and that's it. So the opportunity for corruption is really high at the local level, anyway. So the training is not going to be consistent across the entire country and all that sort of thing. So it's probably not the best system in that regard.
Yeah, like I do see how delegating certain powers to the states rather than having an overarching system can be better. Like sometimes you can essentially have different systems that have different processes, and I think that's what we're actually beginning to see in America. There's different systems at work which have different processes, different amounts of funding go to things like police, different amounts of funding go to things like mental care and all that kind of stuff. And because of that, they're able to essentially see what works and what doesn't work. And I think there is a utility in doing that.
Yeah, well, I think that's essential. You've got to test things on a small scale.
Yeah,
and see what works, and if it doesn't work, then it's only got a small impact, because some things in a test can be a negative result.
Yeah,
and the things that do work, well, then you try that on a larger scale, and if it still works on a larger scale, then you spread it out even further. So, and that's with this virus, no one knew what to do to start with, and that's what they've been doing.
Yeah,
they looked at the best research and they looked at China's experience, even though we couldn't really trust it in a lot of ways.
True.
Because the Chinese were the ones that said that hydroxychloroquine was a cure. They basically said that straight off.
Oh, really? I didn't actually hear about that.
Yeah, that it was Chinese scientists that did the research on which that started with. And they did that because of their effect, yeah. But the thing is, hydroxychloroquine is an effective treatment. In fact, the research that's come out recently has said that it is in certain cases, like when you first get the COVID symptoms and things like that.
Well,
if you've done it with rifamycin, I can never pronounce that one, and zinc at the same time. But it's still inconclusive because medical research tends to take years, and we're trying to cram it all into a short period to save as many lives as possible. So.
Well, what I've seen when it comes to hydroxychloroquine is that there's there's a lot of studies, right, that show that it has no effect, but then there's like a small amount of studies that do. Now, when it comes to any kind of science, there's a certain amount of false positives that you expect to get, and the more research you do into something, and because you had Trump supporting hydroxychloroquine, the more research you do into something, the more likely that you are to get false positives. Because
it's also there was also a lot of false studies, you might say. There were some of the studies on which the anti-Trump media, might say, leapt on were the ones where they gave it basically when they had like 2 or 3 days to live. They were so advanced, so where very little would actually affect them. So they were going to die anyway, and hydroxychloroquine had no effect because they were too far gone. So the problem in a lot of ways is the media, because they're so political about it, and this is not a political thing. We should be far more scientific and objective about it.
Yeah, like
it's hard to tell what's the bullshit and what isn't sometimes.
Yeah, like when it comes to the mask, it's been so politicized, but just wear a fucking mask. It doesn't have to be a political issue. You're not just because you go into fucking Walmart not wearing a mask doesn't mean you're staging a political protest. You're just being a dick to the employees there.
Yeah, they don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah, I just noticed.
They just want to do their job.
I just noticed that AB Science is in the chat, and he says about it was an observational study that and the effect disappeared in RCTs, and I do remember something about that. Seeing someone mention I think it might have been Professor Stick talked about an observational study that showed that.
I'm talking about studies that have come out in the last few days. So.
Oh, okay.
But I'm hearing that secondhand myself, so I'm not saying that it's the truth, but I'm saying that that's what I'm actually making a point about the media more than anything else. We get so much bullshit from all over the place, it's hard to tell what the truth is, and that doesn't help. We need to have a much. That's, if anything else, this pandemic has highlighted we need a much more objective media than we have, because it doesn't help us in this situation.
One thing that I have to say to AB Science is that...
Get your ass in here.
Yeah, you can come in if you want. If you're at work, though, then your work's probably a bit more important than laughing at Karens, but, you know, depends if you want to.
Well, it depends on the work.
True. I mean, he's a scientist, so... one thing that I do want to make a point about the media is there is one person that I've noticed that the Australian media seems to hate, right? And that is Friendly Geordies. Like, he recently brought up
one journalist in particular.
All of them except for there was one dude that Geordies gave the nickname of Prawny to, and
is that the one he did a video on and was going to interview him?
It's the one that he did an interview with, and the prawny person, he is an absolute mad lad because he actually had Jordan on his show. He brought a Super Barrelaro Bros t-shirt and all that. So I got to give props to the guy. But when it comes to, like, I think you've got Sky News and all that, they have been writing hit pieces on him saying, Friendly Geordies made a video claiming that he had sex in Deputy Premier John Barilaro's house, and it's like, but what about the corruption that he raised? You know, he talked about the corruption. And there was a lot of corruption. I'm surprised that... I actually showed it to one of my flatmates, and he said that he's surprised that John Barilaro was actually still has his job. And he wonders...
Well, I agree, yeah.
How he got away with all that. And that's the thing that the media is not talking about when they make these hit pieces on Geordies. They don't raise the point that Geordies brought up points about all the corruption that's going on. They just said Geordies does rude joke or whatnot. It's like, well, there's actual points that...
He's an entertainer. What do you expect him to do? Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, well... what's that?
Yeah, I love the way he trolled that journalist who was going to interview him, and he tried to interview him back.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He got a minion to do it for him, and that was great.
Yeah,
because journalists, particularly in Australia, and you know, it doesn't matter which political side that they tend to be on. They shouldn't be on any side. They take themselves far too seriously. They think because they know things that they'll never report because, you know, that would betray their confidences. They know everything and they know better than everyone else. But most of them have no science background or anything like that. So when it comes to looking at things objectively, they don't really have the training. And yet the public are swayed by what they say. To me, that's a bad situation. I just want to touch on the corruption you mentioned. All politicians are corrupt. It's just a matter of how much and in what way. And those are the two important bits. But yeah, New South Wales is another example of why we need strong parties on both sides. Yeah, because that keeps each other honest. In New South Wales, they had a terrible Labor government for a long time, and the public kicked them out on their ass, and they haven't looked back at Labor since. I think it's been 8 years now, something like that. I think we're it's going to be 12 years by the end of this term. And the Liberals saw that, and they thought, well, we can do whatever we bloody well want. And that's why the corruption's risen. But the opposition is crap too. So
yeah,
it'll come to a point where the opposition will be strong enough to kick them, and the Libs will be kicked down on their asses as well. But we'll have to go through a lot of corruption before we get to that point, and that's sad.
Yeah, I think that the problem is that you've got one side that is corrupt, and you've got another side that's also corrupt, but not quite as corrupt as the other side, right? And then you've got a lot of smaller parties that are
just trying to milk as much money out of the system as possible. Yes.
Well, no, a lot of the smaller parties aren't that corrupt, are far less corrupt, but people go, oh, a third party is never going to win, so let's not vote for them. And that's the problem that you see in New Zealand. Now, I don't think that the Labour Party in New Zealand is corrupt, and I think that there is a little bit of corruption maybe in the National Party, but not quite as much as in, like, Australia, right? So,
well, there's less. The stakes are lower.
Yeah.
Not to be insulting, but because there's less money in the system, there's less to be corrupt about.
Yeah, but like people, I trust the Greens a bit more than I do Labour, mostly because they have policies that I agree with far more than Labour's. Now, there were a few problems a couple of years ago with the Greens, which is one of the reasons why I actually didn't vote for them in the last election, because I think there was a case of benefit fraud by one of the people that was one of the co-leaders of the Greens. And so, there are, politics isn't perfect, but this year I will be voting for the Greens because they've got so many more policies that I agree with. And people are going, oh, you need to vote for Labour because otherwise National will get in. And it's like, but what if they form a coalition with the Greens,
Yeah.
Because that's something that you can do here.
Well, like Gillard did with the Greens, when she was Prime Minister. So,
Anyway, talking about this here. Talking about media, right? Fox News won a... Okay. Thank you, Firefox. Fox News won a court case by persuasively arguing that no reasonable viewer takes Tucker Carlson seriously. This is hilarious.
That's delicious. Yes. So former Playboy model Karen McDougal filed a defamation suit against Fox News, alleging that Carlson slandered her during December 2018 episode of his show Tucker Carlson Tonight, right? And it said, the network asked the judge to dismiss the case, arguing that Carlson's statements were not statements of fact, and that she adequately failed to allege actual malice. The judge agreed with Fox's premise, adding that the network persuasively argues that given Mr. Carlson's reputation, any reasonable viewers arise with an appropriate amount of skepticism about the statements he makes. I think that when it comes to that, anybody that's using Tucker Carlson as a reference or something should just be linked to this article. I think that's what should be done. Mm-hmm.
So, this is hilarious.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never watched Tucker Carlson. I'm not quite sure who he is.
Oh, he's a pundit on Fox News.
Yeah, I guess that's all I need to know, isn't it?
In America, Fox News seems to be very right-leaning. Although, there are some people that are too right-leaning for Fox News. So, let me try and find... I just need to bring up Discord so that I can bring up the next thing. Alright. Time to get into a bit of the meat of the thing. So, as people have been saying about George Soros, there's been this new conspiracy
Uncle George
that has been going around, right? So, Laura Ingram on Twitter said, who paid for the U-Haul? Right? Because they're saying that, so when it comes to this, they say, what the hell? What the fuck? Parked U-Haul packed with supplies and signs for the protests, for the rioters, and they're wondering who paid for it. And I think they're saying that George Soros paid for it, right? Now, if George Soros paid for it, that's probably the cheapest thing that George Soros has ever paid for, because it's $20 to get a U-Haul. Now,
Well, they're cheap.
a lot of people have been saying about these are rioters. Now, I may be wrong, but they don't quite look like they're rioting. It actually looks like they're protesting. Now, I don't see them... Now, are they breaking windows? I'll just mute that. Are they breaking windows and stuff? It doesn't look like they are.
Well, not in this footage, anyway.
Yeah. Now, it could be that they did break windows. I haven't seen any videos of them doing that. All that I know are from this particular riot that they're doing that. I've seen other protests where they are rioting. But for this one, I'm not sure if I've seen anything that... But this looks like a peaceful protest. So, you know... Now, as I said, I could be wrong about that. But when it comes to Ethan...
Well, there's not much... We haven't seen much.
Yeah. I like Ethan Klein's statements on this. He says, it's revealing that Laura thinks there is a conspiracy to fund a U-Haul rather than people being able to afford $20 to rent it for a day. It's literally on the truck. Only $19.95.
Oh, you lied. It's $19.95, not $20. That's the sort of thing a flirt would pick up on, anyway, or a conspiracy nut.
Yeah. It's like $20, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if you're on unemployment benefits, you can scrape that together. That's a pretty good value. I know that's US dollars, of course. I guess that's, what, $25, $30 Australian. It's still good value. Probably be more like $80 Australian.
I think it would be more like $30 Australian. Or at least about $30 New Zealand.
No, I mean to actually hire one in Australia would be about $80.
Okay, yeah.
So to compare the value, yeah.
So maybe if George Soros was Australian, he'd pay $80 instead of...
Yes, well, maybe, yes. Well, that'd be a much bigger conspiracy then, of course.
Yeah. But we'll get back to George Soros, because we've got a few other things to get round to, like some cursed conspiraboomer images. Like this one here. So, you got people saying...
This one here.
Yeah, this particular one here. We are the brainwashed people. Doctors and science is our religion. And then they say that we are the doctors and we prove your pandemic is false with science. And then you've got Greta Thunberg, or I don't know how to pronounce her name. If only AB Science would actually probably be able to pronounce her name a lot better. Saying, how dare you? We must believe the lies. It's our religion. Now...
Yes, they are the brainwashed people if they came up with that.
Now, when it comes to this, the doctors have not proved the pandemic is false, right?
Quite the opposite.
They've imaged the virus.
Maybe Dr. Andrew Kaufman or someone like that, but a lot of doctors have actually died trying to help patients survive the virus, so... it's just idiotic on all levels.
Yeah, like the thing is, they never actually show any studies that show that the pandemic is false. Like they never show any like peer-reviewed studies. Well, I wonder why.
Or research papers or anything like that. They just go to nutters like Andrew Kaufman and who's that other guy who's also starting with Andrew? I can't remember.
Andrew Wakefield?
Probably, yes. Yeah, people who probably shouldn't be doctors at all, who promote this sort of rubbish. It just amazes me that educated people can fall for this sort of rubbish.
Yeah, true. And it's annoying when they say things like doctors and science is our religion. Like the thing is, when it comes to science can be shown to be false. Religion tries very hard to resist against that. So if like you see anything when it comes to certain apologetics or something, you'll say, God is false because of this, this, and this, and then they'll say, well, no, because this, that, and this, and they'll actually make up stuff. Like this is why I found it so difficult to believe to argue with Christians, right? Because they'll literally just make up something to support their narrative.
Well, the other thing that's idiotic about this meme is they're confusing religion and faith because they're different things. Faith can live without religion, but religion can't live without faith, if you know what I mean. The faith is what you put your belief in without any proof, and religion is what you do in response to it. Go to church or whatever. So what they're really talking about is faith, that we have faith that the virus exists. And that's what they're meaning by they're the brainwashed people. They believe in the virus. But the thing is, they believe in the virus based on fact, not based on nothing. So therefore, it's not a faith.
Yeah.
Whereas they're saying it's false based on nothing. So they're the ones with the faith.
True. Anyway, well...
So true, you can't respond to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what else is there to say about that?
Yeah, I covered all the points, I think.
Now, let's get into the kinky shit. Right?
Ooh.
More from...
Promises.
More from Conspiraboomer Images, right? So, here...
Anything with conspira in the name, that's got to be suspect to start with, doesn't it?
Yeah, so... This person posted they're a globe skeptic. I just noticed that it says globe skeptic up there. So...
Yeah.
It says, whenever I hear someone talk to me with a mask on, all I can think about is how they sound with a dick in their mouth. So
it's sort of more revealing about them than it is about anything else, isn't it? That they think about such things.
Yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with being gay, but that's gay, right?
That's what they're implying, yes.
Yeah, like, if it's a dude that's gay, if it's a woman, then maybe they...
She's willing to please, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, like, this image here, I think, is that's him on officer. That's the horny. I think that's a...
What is that? Is that a guinea pig or a hamster?
Oh shit, I just realised something. Hopefully...
Oh, it's a rat. That's what it is. It's a rat.
Yeah, because I think there was some related stuff that may not have been safe for the stream in the background there.
You running porn in the background again? Jeez. Donkey porn, of course. Yeah.
I'll have to view it later, make sure that there's nothing. Anyway, here's some actual conspiracy.
You have to view it later for educational purposes, just to check it out, you know.
Yeah. Here's some actual conspiracy here. So this person says, okay, hear me out. This recipe is a North Carolina delicacy. I give you not an actual conspiracy, but an actual, what's it called? Controversial issue. So I give you the...
Or like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, banana and mayo banana sandwich, and go. No. No. This is not something that we should be doing. No. Mayo.
Well, unless you're in North Carolina.
Yeah, mayo and banana. No.
Yeah, I could think of worse things. Vegemite and banana, maybe.
I mean, yeah, that's probably pretty bad, but...
I remember when I was a kid, I used to make banana sandwiches and put brown sugar on top. That tasted really good.
But anyway, let me go to the... let me go to the next one. But yeah, I just... It's like pineapple on pizza. It's just as bad.
Yeah, it's a taste thing. Well, no, I think the problem with pineapple on pizza is that people around the world don't have access to Queensland pineapples because they're really good pineapples. So yeah, you just don't have good enough pineapple is the problem.
That could be an issue.
Yeah.
I personally have no problem with pineapple on pizza. In fact, last time I actually ordered pizza, I didn't get pineapple on pizza, and one person was mad at me. So,
well, pineapple on pizza is basically like having a gammon steak with a fried pineapple ring on it, which is a common way of serving it. And you know that's a really good combination. And pineapple on pizza's the pizza version of that, I guess. But like I said, you've got to have a good pineapple, and Queensland makes the best pineapple. So.
Yeah. So.
Plug for Queensland there.
Yeah, so this person says, if it... So there's this image that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unless it's your baby or child. Then you should inject it with formaldehyde, mercury... they spell aluminium wrong. Aborted fetal tissue and lab-made viruses. Like... There's so much wrong with this. Like, firstly, the mercury is not the standard mercury that is bad for people. It's a different thimerosal. Just because it contains mercury doesn't mean that it is mercury. Much like sodium chloride. We eat that all the time, and it contains sodium and chlorine.
And if you get too much dihydrogen oxide, you'll get, you'll drown.
You mean hydrogen hydroxide?
H2O, dihydrogen oxide. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got a scientist in the chat saying banana sandwiches are grand. Banana and mayo is just wrong. So I agree with that statement.
Yeah. I'm not defending banana and mayo, but it doesn't sound terrible. Put it that way. It depends on the mayo too, I guess. But mayo is basically egg white and olive oil, so that doesn't seem in itself a good thing to go on banana. But local delicacies, they're always interesting to try, aren't they?
And we've got
It's kind of the point of travel in a lot of ways.
So I just saw this person that's wrong here, right here. So this person here said, didn't they stop putting mercury in vaccines decades ago? Also, I'm pretty sure aborted fetal tissue has never been in vaccines, right? And this person says nope and nope. Thimerosal is in almost every vaccine. Wrong. It's only in the flu vaccine. That's the only vaccine that has thimerosal in it these days. And then they say aborted fetal cells line tissue is also present in many vaccines, also animal cell cultures. Now, it's hard to find actual things on this because the people that seem to talk about aborted fetal cell tissue is the people that are against vaccines. But I think what I need to do is I need to talk to someone that actually works on making vaccines and actually ask them, okay, what is the context behind this? What is the context behind this? And what is the context behind this? That would be
a good thing.
I think that's the best way. I understand
because these idiots never post links to anything that they assert.
Yeah,
and they start with a conspiracy mindset and just say, well, obviously they're trying to do something to us, so therefore it must be bad. So anyone who says anything along those lines, I'll believe.
Yeah, and they bring up things like aluminium, and there's daily you get more aluminium. I think it's about 5 times more aluminium than what's in a vaccine daily.
Yeah.
Formaldehyde, I think, is a preservative as well. I don't think that's dangerous.
And there's lots of potassium in bananas, but no one complains about the potassium in bananas. They say, "Oh, it's a mineral that you need." So it just and aluminium is fairly inert, really. It depends on what form it is, I guess. It's obviously not going to be metallic aluminium or anything like that. And that's the implication they're saying here, that it's it's like saying, oh, you can't have sodium on your food, but it's sodium chloride, it's salt.
Yeah.
But sodium by itself would be dangerous, but in the form of salt, no, it isn't.
Well, I'm pretty sure if I were to get a pack of chips or something and look on the back, there'd be a sodium.
Heaps of sodium.
Yeah, it'd have a sodium intake, or say how much sodium is in it, and you need some sodium. Now, if you have
your body's your body needs minerals. It's designed to take them in. It's the quantity that matters and the form in which it comes. And people, they never talk about that. They talk about, oh, it's sodium or mercury or aluminium, you know?
Yeah. But anyway, let's go to the...
They omit the important bits. That's why the conspiracy lives, I guess.
Now, here we are going over to the next bit of George Soros. Because, you know, George Soros is apparently funding Antifa.
So another $20.
Oh, this is a little more than $20, right? So, well, we've got the Laura Ingram saying about the U-Haul, right? And then there's one person that responded with this. So, $5,000, a nice check, right? For so here we've got George Soros wrote out this check, right? And this person said that they found it on Facebook. This is what these rioters are getting paid daily. Now, sign me the fuck up for $5,000. Like, where do I sign up for this? Unfortunately, I'm not in America, so I can't get it. But you know, does anybody see?
But still just $5,000. You know, it's not like he's giving them millions.
Does anybody see the problem with this? Like, if you actually,
This is 2017.
Well, wait, where does it say 2017? Oh, it does.
Top right-hand corner.
It does say 2017. Holy shit. But there's also another problem. To the order of Conrad and Antifa. Like,
Professional Protesting Incorporated. As if that's real, yeah.
Yeah, like, how do people believe this dumb shit?
It's like Wes Wally put a false address on a package he opened on a video, and everyone was saying, particularly Antonio Subarat said, "Oh, you're doxing yourself by showing your address," but he'd made up a false address. It was curved, not flat, and he didn't get it. So yeah, that's what they're doing here. Basically, they're just making stuff up.
Yeah, and people believe the stupid shit. Now, to be fair, it is funny when people believe stupid shit, but at the same time, like...
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. They believe what they want to believe rather than critically think about things. I mean, that was the first thing I did. Is I would just want to look at this check and just see what information it gave me. And I saw 2017. I was thinking, well, what's that got to do with 2020?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, as it says here, Conrad and Antifa.
And I've never seen anyone put their address and phone number on a check before. I don't know if that happens in the US, but that seems pretty weird to me.
Same here.
Especially when George Soros, there's some doubt as to whether or not he's even alive. So,
yeah, you said about that conspiracy, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's just stupid, you know. Like, if I go back to the original this Laura Ingram post, you know, I'm pretty sure I can find people in the replies that are saying they're saying stuff about, oh yeah, so there's this: "Hi, I'm George Soros, a billionaire sociopathic globalist. I destroy economies, cultures, and countries. I profit off the destruction of entire societies. I finance Black Lives Matter riots. I am funding Antifa." It's just like... And it's from Turning Point USA, you know, a conservative propaganda outlet. So, you know...
I don't get the conspiracy about George Soros, because even if he is doing all these things, so what? It's not like other people aren't doing other things that counter him. You know, I imagine Rupert Murdoch's doing a few things in that regard too.
Yeah, it's...
And there's other people, of course.
Yeah, you do have... there are bad people. Now, I don't know if George Soros is a bad person. I've heard that he's donated to some charities or something, like Bill Gates has. And, you know, Bill Gates has conspiracies about him. And
really loony ones, but yeah.
yeah. And I think that it really is a case-by-case basis. Like, for example, I'm not a big fan of Jeff Bezos. You know, he seems to be, isn't he the richest person in the world? You know?
At the moment, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think that he's a good person necessarily, but maybe one day he'll start donating to charities and, you know, actually help quite a few people out with his billions of dollars that he has. I think that
just like Bill Gates did. Yeah, I always hear things about certain people, but I'm not. Unlike these sort of people, I never sort of say, oh, "Okay, well, they must be bad, so I'm going to write them off," because that closes me off to opportunities that, first of all, I might be wrong, and second of all, don't have enough information to make any such judgment, so I won't make that judgment. I'm quite happy to hear what other people have to say, but if they've made their judgment with the same amount of information, then they're not really arguing from a position of strength, you might say. So, you know, George Soros, he might be doing things that are bad, but it's his money. He's entitled to spend it the way he wants, just as if I had that sort of money, I'd be entitled to spend it the way I wanted. And like I said, he's not the only person in the world spending money on political things. Lots of other people are spending a lot of money on other things as well, you know?
Yeah. Now, here's the last part of this section of the show. It is another cursed Conspiraboomer image, because they have a lot of great stupid.
Just because you can.
Stupid. And let's see if this is true. So, here we go. Average space travel enthusiast and average flat earther. Now,
he doesn't look much like Nathan Oakley.
Now,
but he's not an average flat earther, I guess.
Now, I do agree with the I love science, because, you know, I think we all fucking love science here, right? And so I don't get how that's a rip against globe earthers, but I did see this here. Now this looks like Nathan Thompson.
What the hell's that?
They've done some image thing to it. Now this looks like Nathan Thompson. Like, no shit. This looks like Nathan Thompson. So I can actually agree that it looks like an average.
Well, if he had a baby with spurs.
Like, does this not remind you of Nathan Thompson? Like, hands up in the chat if this reminds you of Nathan Thompson. If this, because I think that it does. I think that looks pretty close to Nathan Thompson. I realise I've said Nathan Thompson quite a bit, but
yes, don't say too much or he'll appear.
Oh, that's going to be scary. So,
no one's commenting. No, not really. Yeah. I mean, I can see it as a stretch, but it doesn't sort of leap off the page as Nathan Thompson to me. So,
well, it's got the same kind
similar.
of. He's got the same kind of beard, and you can't really see much of moustache there.
That's not a lot to compare people on, though.
I mean,
he's got that sort of dead eye on the left-hand side, but that sort of matches. Can we go back to the first image that this was based on?
This is the first image.
Because I don't really understand. Yeah, we had the globe earther on one side and whoever the other guy was. Yeah. I don't understand why they think that's an average flat earther, because what?
It looks
what's the comparison?
Looks too rich to be an average flat earther. You know, like,
yeah, and too handsome, and and too stylish.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look anything like Ranty.
Yeah, like, it doesn't look anything like Daniel Pratt either.
No. Yes.
So, what...
Yeah, I don't get it.
What segment should we go into next? Karen Time or Chatbox Travels?
Let's save Karen for last.
Okay. In that case, we'll go into Chatbox Travels.
Oh, Chatbox Travels. Got to put on your silly voice for Chatbox Travels. So.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Maybe tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Space comma. I know that I stole that from Conspiracy Cats, but I'm sure Conspiracy Cats won't mind.
Well, he stole it from somewhere else, didn't he? He didn't write that song. I don't understand why he uses that song for Chatbox Travels. I don't see the connection, but it's a cool song.
Yeah, it is. Alright, so let's start with Nathan.
Which one? There's so many.
The Nathan Oakley Jokley Slappy the Clown. So, this was off my most recent video where I decided to, take one last look at the Black Swan images and go ahead and show why it doesn't work, right? So, Nathan says, 4 minutes. Finally, refraction 7/6R for you, Fundy. Your refraction need R, dipshit. We only have...
You're going to do a silly voice.
We only have... Well, I've got to do the shouting. We only have one horizon. The horizon in your globe model was geometric before it was debunked by the Black Swan. A refracted horizon isn't geometric. Meanwhile, you no longer have a physical geometric sphere edge for horizon, as required by your geometric globe Earth model. Nice try, bonehead. Now,
almost everything in there is wrong except for one sentence.
Which one?
A refracted horizon isn't geometric.
True.
Everything else is completely wrong. And just shows what an idiot he is.
Yeah.
He's just showcasing his idiocy.
Now, when it comes to this comment, I pretty much debunked it in the video.
Of course you did.
Right? If he had have just watched a little bit further, he would have seen that I debunked his point. It's almost like I knew the points that they were going to bring up and was like, okay, this is why this point is wrong. And he just decided, oh, here's a point that I can make. So, I'll make this point. And
oh, are you saying flat earthers are predictable?
Maybe they are. Yeah.
You mean that, they just don't repeat the same thing over and over? Jeez. I would have thought they'd come up with some original stuff. They're smart people.
I think we've got something about smart people when it comes to flat earthers later on.
Well, I mean, the first sentence is just idiocy. Your refraction need R, dipshit. Well, the idiocy is the formula is based on reality, not the other way around. Reality isn't dependent on the formula.
Yeah.
The formula represents reality. That's why we have it, to help us, measure things.
Yeah. Like in the video, right? So when he talked to... I brought up Mick West's... what is it? The refraction simulator, right? I put a link to that in the description as well, so that people could go check it out. Now, the refraction simulator isn't really based on R. All it is it's based on like atmospheric conditions, and you can go ahead and check the atmospheric conditions for a flat Earth and atmospheric conditions for a globe Earth.
Yeah.
It's not like the base, and it doesn't, and it's not 7/6R in these in the model. It's actually using something completely different. You can change the refraction conditions to be however you want. So yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the next comment. So, Nathan is a fucking idiot. Ding.
Yeah, that's the easiest way just to write that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, as OB Science says, R is just a convenient unit in that particular case.
Yeah.
Because of the geometry, so, yeah.
Now, this person says, there are thousands of black swan images, you utter fool. And, I mean, sure, there may be some black swan images, but it's nothing that... Like, here's the thing. There may be thousands of black swan images, but there are thousands of images that show curvature. Now...
Well, for every black swan image, we got to talk context. We're not talking about a bird here. They're talking about a refracted horizon that's behind platforms that the platforms off the Californian coast. But for every one of those, there's pictures of exactly the same scene. Probably many, many more. I think the guy who took that particular photo was there every day for like 100 days, and that was the only one that showed it like that. Everyone else showed the curve very clearly.
Well, there's 3 images which show... there are 3 images which show the horizon behind the platforms, right?
Yeah.
Now
3 out of 100 or something.
Now I've seen 6 images of those platforms, all taken by the same guy, I think. One of them might not have been because I was linked it, but it seems that they're all taken by the same person. So you've got the original black swan image. Then you've also got the one thing where the black swan image was repeated, and then you've got what I call the flat swan, right? And that's where the platform looks very squashed for some reason. Wonder why. And when it comes to those images, you've got 3 other images where 2 of them are very clear. Like, very clear. It doesn't look like any... it looks like minimal refraction is taking place. Then there's a 3rd one where there is some refraction that's taking place, but it still looks like the platform is behind the horizon. And I actually want flat earthers to give a reason why things disappear bottom first over the horizon, right? And how that actually makes sense due to what we know. Because they could use something like refraction, but why is there a gradient of... why is there a temperature gradient that gets hotter as it goes further towards the ground? That doesn't make sense because hot air rises, typically.
Well, you can temporarily have, as winds move hot air masses around, usually that's a storm front, though. That does happen locally temporarily, but generally hot air will rise.
Yeah. And the cold air near the ground makes a lot more sense because, hot air rises, cold air typically moves downwards.
So even if they were right and hot air was closer to the ground in a particular situation, that's obviously going to be the least likely situation.
Yeah.
The fact that it's possible doesn't mean it's the truth all the time. The vast majority, as you said, the vast majority of the photos do not show the black swan.
Exactly.
And the 3 that do are all different, which just shows that the atmosphere changes.
And
that's all it shows.
And they all look very refracted as well.
Yeah. Well, even if they're clear, it doesn't mean they're not refracted. But those cranes on those platforms are the telltale thing because, obviously they don't look straight.
Yeah. Anyway, let's... Here is this comment by EW, and it's about myself and AB Science, right? When it comes to that Ken Wheeler dude, because when I made that video, it did all right, but since I have released that video, every week I pretty much get someone. Every week I pretty much get someone coming along and leaving a comment on it. Like this person saying, "Y'all just mad he is smarter than you. Lamau, you don't even understand what matter is. It's high energy light." And I'm pretty sure that's just wrong.
Well, we're made of matter. Are we light?
like
with high energy.
well, I'm pretty sure if you like first off, like high, like how do you get high energy light? Like I thought that high energy light was when light had higher energy. I'm pretty sure like if you move towards smaller wavelengths, that means that the light has higher energy, right? But
yeah, microwaves.
yeah. Well, no, not microwaves. I'm pretty sure microwaves have lower energy. I'm pretty sure the higher energy comes is when you move to further towards ionizing radiation. That means that it's
AB Science will tell us in a minute in the chat.
yeah, and like doesn't mean that if we put more energy into light that it'll become matter.
Oh, I thought light was matter.
So AB Science says EW has been playing on his channel a bit.
Uh-huh. But I thought everything was matter that wasn't antimatter. So light is matter in that sense. It's a photon, but that's still matter.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's when it comes to quantum mechanics, you got the whole thing with particle wave particle duality, and light is a wave sometimes, but a particle at other times, and that confuses everything.
Yeah. Well, it can be observed as both. Yeah, it doesn't mean it is, I guess, but yeah.
So yeah, it is a very confusing thing, and that's why it's best to have physicists in the chat to be able to tell us. Oh, I like what King Crew said. E equals MCToon.
Mm-hmm.
So
MCToon is awesome. He tore left the foot apart yesterday, and left the foot didn't even notice. Right the hand, I mean, of course.
I have to go ahead and watch that.
Oh, it's a thing to behold, and he's just got so left the foot has absolutely nothing towards the end. Oh yes, AB Science beer was more important. We're talking about this guy saying light matter is high energy light, but we think matter is pretty much everything, including light, because if it's not antimatter, it's matter, isn't it? Tell us if we're right or not. And getting beer is far more important than talking to us. Yes.
Yeah.
Beer is life. What were we talking about?
We're talking about this guy on that came to my comment section, and also came to AB Science's comment section. Yeah, and AB Science says depends on definitions. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure we're not made.
Pretty much everything does.
I'm pretty sure we're not made of photons. I do know that some.
But we're made of matter.
Some people say that photons created all matter in the universe. Now,
everything is energy. Yeah.
Yeah, like in the Big Bang, you had. I think light would create particles and antiparticles, and then those most of those particles and antiparticles smashed back into each other and annihilated each other, resulting in the energy being released or something. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but it's I still think that's different to light, honestly. Anyway, here's another thing. So let's go with a silly voice for this one. Ike Hotman. Why does the sun not go down? Question mark, no space. No capital either. Here it goes up with 2 P's and down under the sea. Double full stop. Why does it look on the South Pole and only circle horizontal? Question mark. No space, no capital. Makes all no sense to me. Question mark. No space, no capital. Only important thing is to me what is logic that North Star stays always standing north, while all stars turning above us, comma, no space. Yeah, call me stupid too, please, cause I still believe it's flat.
Okay, fess up, Planet Walk. You wrote that, didn't you?
No, I didn't write that.
No one could be that stupid. That's a parody of a flat earther. That can't be real.
Like, that's like, at least he didn't use space commas.
Well, he did the opposite. No space commas.
Yeah.
In fact, the only places he doesn't have spaces is where he should have them, which is after the end of sentences.
Yeah, like,
and after commas.
Like, he never has a space on after punctuation. So he asks why the sun doesn't go down. He says, here it goes up and down under the sea. Like, how do you know that it's going down under the sea, though? Like,
well, even if that's the case, isn't that going down?
Yeah, like...
Well, where's the distinction there?
Like, maybe it looks like to you it's going down under the sea, and if that's the case, maybe we need to go save the sun, because that could put out the sun if it goes into the water, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, sending a rocket to the sun, you'll go at night so you don't burn.
Yeah, like, we need to go... Look, like, it's getting pretty dark outside, actually, as well. We need to go save the sun.
Yeah, put it in a jar or something.
So, AB Science said it's definitely going under the sea. Everyone knows it's better down where it's wetter.
Is he talking about the sea with the second sentence, or
It's a reference to
or something else?
It's a reference to the Little Mermaid.
Oh no! Well, I was
the sea,
going deeper into the gutter.
Under the sea,
down where it's wetter is what I was picking up on. But yeah,
it's so much better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Anyway. Now, here we've got this one.
Like I said, that just has to be a parody of a flat earther. That can't be real. No one's that stupid.
Well, he said to call him stupid, so... But, you know, like, if it's going down over the horizon, then, you know, that's proof of a globe Earth, because on a flat Earth, a sun wouldn't do that.
And yet they never address that. Well, they address it with nonsense.
Yeah.
But I'm amazed that they think anyone would believe it. Yet, you know, they're just so desperate to... Well, okay, it destroys our model, so we'll come up with any old rubbish to make sure our model isn't destroyed, no matter how ridiculous and, you know, in itself destroying of the model it happens to be. Like, the latest things they're saying, right at the horizon, everything gets compressed. That's how you see the bottoms of ships disappear bottom up and the sun disappears. And I was thinking, well, okay, where else does this happen? What's the maths you can use to predict that? And so on, you know, they just don't do any of the work.
Oh yeah, someone noticed something interesting when I when I clicked up here. It came up with Flat Earth Debates card game. And someone actually noticed that. I still got to finish that. Anyway, do you want to read this comment out?
Okay. Oh, can you make it bigger again? There we go. Okay, what's a silly voice I can do for this one? Oh, I'll do my UFO spotter voice. Wrong! 1,000 miles per hour is frickin' fast. A speed you cannot ignore. There should be earth winds spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, travelling east to west if the earth spins west to east. Meanwhile, clouds have their own pace through a velcroed atmosphere. At least the heavenly Velcro, yeah.
At least they got that right, though. When it comes to flat earthers, like they say, at least they're saying atmosphere rather than atmosphere, which implies that the Earth's a sphere.
Well, this is actually reasonably well written compared to the last one.
Oh, definitely.
But Velcro? Velcro? Okay, so continuing on. What is Coriolis? Coriolis is a visual illusion. It is not an actual force. It's an apparent force. Why do they think apparent force means it doesn't really exist? It's not. What it means is it's not actually a force, but it works like a force.
Exactly.
It's something we can't ignore because it exists. We just have. It's not a force in the strictest definition. That's all it means. Anyway, why did I think you were smarter than this? I must have thought you were a flat earther. I'm so clever.
Like, do you really think that flat earthers are smart? Like, do I need to play all the sound bites from flat earthers? There are a lot of, like, there's one from Ranty saying, "I'm a stupid flat earther." You know,
it's the only thing he said that's truthful. Yes.
You know, you've got so.
Or multi dum dum. I'm just an idiot on the internet.
Yeah, like flat
I
earthers.
really need a soundboard.
Flat earthers aren't that intelligent, you know. Like, at least when I
well, you have to be stupid to fall for something as stupid as that, and then ignore all the evidence that shows you wrong. You know.
Yeah. But when it comes to this, like, Earth winds. He says that there should be Earth winds spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, traveling east to west. No, that's not the case, because there is this thing called friction, right? So even if the Earth was rather smooth, which it's not, then eventually, after millions of years, you'd still have the atmosphere that would be spinning with the Earth due to friction. Now, some people may say that it comes up from, that most of the atmosphere comes from vents. In that case, well, it would already have the motion of the Earth along with it, if it comes from vents. Therefore, it's going to be moving at the same speed as the Earth. But even if you consider the winds, like north and south winds that would be subject to Coriolis, and that's why we get storms, they are still subject to friction from the ground. And
Coriolis isn't why we get storms, but
that's why the storms spin in a certain direction.
It determines that, but it doesn't determine whether or not we get storms. But yeah, but he's saying we should have winds which way, traveling east to west. But we do have winds traveling west to east. They're just traveling with the Earth, so therefore you don't feel the difference in the speed because they're traveling at the same speed as the Earth. They're not really winds, I guess, technically, but yeah.
Yeah, like, flat earthers don't seem to understand the idea of relative motion. Like, it's always like 1,000 miles an hour it's relative to what? It's relative to the center of the Earth, essentially.
Oh, look at Mitchell from Australia. He took his drone up off the roundabout, and he thought that it left its rotational frame, but he's controlling it, so it didn't happen naturally, ballistically.
Yeah, like when it comes to these things, like they'll do things which it doesn't really gel too well with reality. There'll always be something else in play, like when they pour water on a ball and say, why doesn't it stick to a ball? Like, firstly, there's more water sticking to the ball relative to the amount. Like, if we compare the size of the ball, there's more water sticking to that ball than there is oceans. The second part of that is when
they spin the ball, spin the wet ball and water flies off. Why aren't the oceans flying off? Well, it's not spinning that fast, is it?
Yeah, and they say, well, it's not spinning. This is spinning slower than 1,000 miles an hour, but we're not measuring the surface speed. We're measuring the rotational speed.
Yeah, which is revolutions, not miles per hour.
Yeah, learn some science.
You don't measure the piston in a car engine by miles per hour. You measure it by its revolutions per minute.
Yeah. Anyway,
you don't say your pistons are going at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, Anyway, let's bring up the next comment. Alright, here we go. Copy link. So, Flat Earth Vodka says Earth is flat and I destroyed FTFE. No.
And again, this is like right to hand yesterday. They always think they win, no matter how much they're pummeled into the ground, you know?
True.
Because they've got to, I guess, that they can't accept that they've been beaten, so they just deny. They're in self-denial.
Yeah. Okay, I think I should do an accent for this next one.
You're already doing an accent.
A different accent. Copy link. And this one says, lol. You're absolutely nothing. This is funny. And your accent sucks. That's why I'm doing it next. That's why I'm doing an accent for this. I know I am aware that I just completely changed accent.
Or accent. In Kiwi.
Yeah, like...
Or maybe that's more a North Island thing, I don't know.
Now, I do know some things. I have a degree in IT, alright? So, I have a...
So do I.
I have a graduate diploma in IT, and I have a...
Ooh. You have a qualification in IT then, not a degree. Or do you say you have that on top of your degree?
Well, a bachelor degree.
Oh, you have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah. I have a diploma in audio production, and it's snowing outside, I just realised.
What? For real?
Like, yeah. That's how cold it is in New Zealand.
You're kidding me.
Like, I'm not kidding you, it's actually snowing.
Wow.
I just noticed the snowflakes. Like, it was hailing. Like, it's literally white outside. It was hailing last night. So, yeah.
What's your latitude?
About 46 degrees south.
Oh, wow. You're that far south. You're further south than Hobart.
Yeah, actually,
and of course, there's no Gulf Stream, so, you know, it's not like you're kept warm by something else, so you just get the full Antarctic force, I guess.
Yeah, as a quick break from this, I'm going to show a thing that I did. Let me go to the Russia Stupid thing and upload a few images. Damn, why is it so... There we go, these two images. Alright. Oh no, these are... Wait. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I can upload them. So I've got this image and...
Well, it's cool here, but it's only 15 degrees, so yeah, it's not like it's going to snow. 15 degrees Celsius, we live in the world where the 21st century uses metric.
Exactly.
There's only one country in the world left that doesn't use metric now.
So
guess which it is.
So I'm just going to go over to Discord. I set this up because I was going to do something on the equinox, but apparently it fell, or seems like it fell.
Just one final thing on this comment we've just gone through.
Yeah.
Another thing that they do, they said, you absolutely know nothing, this is funny, and your accent sucks. It's, first of all, ad hominem. Second of all, they just don't, they say you absolutely know nothing, but they offer nothing in rebuttal. It's a comment without any argument.
Yes,
so, other than the ad hominem. So.
Yeah, has no substance. Anyway.
And that doesn't really advertise intelligence, put it that way.
Yeah. So, now, if I open link, actual cancel, we're going to go copy link because that's the way that I've got to do it. So, copy link to here, right, and then copy this link to here. All right. This is
not a donkey porn again. No? Okay.
no, it's not donkey porn. So this is a measurement that I took on the equinox. As you can, it was taken at 12:40,
which was sidereal noon.
Yep. Or yeah, sidereal. Well, no, not sidereal noon. It will be solar noon.
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
No, sidereal would be facing a particular way in relation to the stars, wouldn't it?
Didn't think that was the case. I thought that's what sidereal meant, solar noon.
No, I'm pretty sure solar noon and sidereal noon would be something different. But yeah, anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sidereal is like a day. The Earth turns a little bit more than 24 hours to come back to the same position in its rotation, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not really explaining it well, but yeah, solar noon is is between, you take sunrise and sunset. The middle bit is solar noon, and that's what I meant. Yes.
So, yes, this is only 6 inches. Actually, it's a bit longer than that, but that's because it's been banged.
15 centimeters. 15 centimeters. We are metric.
Yeah, we're going 152 millimeters. It's between 151 and 152 millimeters. The length of this, right? And if I go to here, we get a shadow length of about 160 millimeters. So that should lead to, to
the geometry and get your latitude.
Yep. That should, I know that I recorded the latitude down on Twitter because I sent this to Simon Dan, in case he ever wants to use it. All right, well, 46.4 degrees south,
which matches up.
I think I haven't done the trigonometry, so I think it should.
All right, I thought that was what you were leading into.
So yeah.
So the angle. So you've got a right angle triangle. So the lower angle, I guess you call it, should be your latitude, I think.
Yeah. I also made sure that this was as level as I could get it, as well as making sure that the pole there was at a 90-degree angle to the board. So you should be able to calculate. You should get something when you measure the angle. It's like 46.4 degrees. Or at least something.
Yeah, it's the top angle, I think, actually. I think it's the top angle because if we're at my latitude, the shadow would be shorter because the sun's higher in the sky. So, yeah, it must be at the top angle, I guess. So you've got the right angle triangle. You go to a right angle triangle calculator and plug that in, eh?
Yeah.
You've got two sides and an angle, so you should be able to figure out the other angles.
So if I go to calculator... one person said 151.8 millimeters. So if I go right angle triangle calculator, let's see if it gives me my latitude. All right, so
you're not a high IQ researcher. You've only got 4 tabs.
I know, but you know. I've actually got more tabs open in Google Chrome and stuff. So we go 150.
I love what Tusk has just written. You should always film sunset at midday when it's brightest.
And we're going to get rid of that because, you know, we're not going to use the hypotenuse. Then we're going to go
So A was, 151, yeah.
It's about 160 millimeters, and we will go calculate.
And we
get
hang on. No, A is the height of the stick. Oh, yeah, that's right. So what? And B will be the shadow length.
Yep. And we get an angle of 46.5 degrees.
Sorry, I was watching on the stream. I got confused.
Yeah. So, yeah, we get a length of... we get an angle of 46.5 degrees. And a 0.1 degree margin of error. That's pretty good.
That is.
Like, 0.1 degree margin of error. And I think it was 4. I think there was another number after the 4. So,
given you use a tape measure, that's easily understandable.
Yeah. That's that's pretty good, I think.
And how would that work on a flat Earth when the sun's moving around in a circle?
Yeah. The ABC Science says 0.1 is not your error. What is my...
I'm not sure what he means by that, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm 46.4 degrees latitude south. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he means. I am very
Anyway,
I'm very confused. Maybe it's maybe I had the wrong.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. It's that's certainly within acceptable limits, isn't it? It's less than 1% error, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'm misusing scientific terms or something, which is again understandable.
Well, it could be he could be referring to rounding errors in the algorithm of this calculator or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter either way. But you've proven the point that you take the shadow measurement at solar noon of a stick of known length, and you can figure out your latitude.
Yeah.
On the equinox, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And if you know distances, you can figure out a. If you know different distances, you can figure out the size of the Earth. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you did a stick, 10 miles north, and you'd get a slightly different answer, and then you could figure out the circumference because you've done the 10 miles, or 10 kilometers, I should say. We're metric.
Yeah. Or
16 kilometers.
The flirts are getting to you there, mate.
Yeah, well, it's more that the majority of our audience are American. So they tend to, and the UK, for some reason, still, even though they've been metric for years, they still use the old measurements, mainly because they invented them, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to the comments, let's go to the next comment from Truth Seeker. So this is from the last Rush of Stupid. Copy link to here, and they say, the point of the 9/11 image is that the angle of those rays isn't possible in your claimed model. Your model states that comes in such a relatively close angles that they can be considered parallel, which we don't observe. So, when it comes to here, you've got two options. Option one is that sun rays come in parallel, but they don't appear parallel due to perspective. Or option two, the sun is literally just above the fucking clouds. Which is it?
Well, I think, the Flat Earth Society, which is a parody group, so it doesn't really count, but a lot of people like Flat Earth Aussie Roscoe leap on it. They say that the sun is 5,000 kilometres up. Now, when we were doing the equinox observation, I was talking to Wolfie over in Perth, which is 4,000 kilometres away from me. And the sun's set here in Brisbane about 2 hours after sunset. The sun was still up in Perth by a fair way. And so that means if the sun's simply moving away from me to set, it was somewhere between here and Perth. And if I couldn't see it, that was 4,000 kilometres away. So if I couldn't see it when it was no more than 4,000 kilometres away, how can I see it when it's 5,000 kilometres up in the air?
Yeah.
Because that's bigger than 4,000.
Yeah, definitely. Like, their ideas make no sense.
And, you know, any flurf who keeps saying that the sun just moves away and that's why it gets dark at night, then we should be able to see it with a telescope that's powerful enough, shouldn't we? It's not moving that far away. We can see things in other galaxies. You should be able to see the sun if it's only 5,000 kilometres away.
But anyway, we'll go to the next... on to the next one. Where is it? Because we've still got a fair few comments, and then we've got to get through Karen time. I think I'm going to skip the Reddit readings for today. Although I do have... There is a... one that someone recommended last time that was for... it was like a QAnon thing. Like Q posters or something. Which would be an interesting one to take a look at. Anyway, copy link. So, this person here says, ahoy hoy. Can you show first
Really?
Yeah, they said ahoy hoy because I always open my videos with ahoy hoy. I'm planning walk.
Yeah.
Can you show first-hand observations of curvature or motion? Not assumption, right second-hand proofs, which is all the globe has. All motion must be observable and felt. Also, 1 revolution per day is a magician's tricks to get you to think the speed isn't relevant. All that matters is tangential velocities and the speeds the globe model claims are absent from observed reality. Okay, so first off, motion must be observable and felt. Problem with that is that we only feel acceleration and deceleration, which deceleration is just a form of acceleration, right?
So is what he's saying is when I'm on a plane heading over the Pacific and I've got my glass of champagne sitting in first class, I'm not feeling the 1,000 kilometre an hour movement that we're doing in the plane, and I should be, you know.
Yeah, well,
my glass of champagne is not falling over because we're moving at 1,000 kilometres an hour.
Well, when it comes to the whole motion argument, right? Like, why can't we feel the motion? Well, when it comes to a plane, it doesn't feel all that much difference to when I'm in a car, right?
Yeah.
Like, being in a plane and a car is different. Is no different.
Two cars doing, apart from turbulence, but you've got bumps on the road as well.
Yeah.
2 cars doing 100 k's on the highway next to each other. They appear to be standing still relative to each other. All motion is relative.
Exactly. And that's
you feel the acceleration up to that speed. You feel deceleration when you brake, but you don't feel 100 kilometres an hour when you're just sitting on 100 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, it's like when you accelerate and decelerate in a car, right? So when you accelerate, you'll be pushed backwards. When you decelerate, you'll be pushed forwards. Like, you know.
Yeah, simply because of conservation of momentum, because you're doing 100 kilometres an hour too, and if you decelerate, the car slows down, and you need to slow down with it.
Yeah.
But it slows down first.
And I wonder I wonder how they think we're supposed to feel something like... I wonder how they think we're supposed to feel something like going 100 kilometres per hour. I wonder how they think that we're supposed to feel that. Like, is it because of the bumps in the road? What if the road's a really smooth road and there is no bumps?
Well, I think they're equating wind caused by, with the car window down, with feeling it. Whereas it's not. If you have the windows up, you don't experience that.
Yeah, like the air in the car is moving at the same speed as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the end, it's just willful ignorance. That they don't want to believe that motion is relative, so they decide it's not, and then they force you to argue against it. So,
yeah,
but they're just wasting your time, basically.
Essentially. So, to stop them wasting our time, we'll go on to the next comment. How's that? How's that? All right, this is something that I actually would have liked AB Science here to answer, but so there's this person here that commented on one of my videos saying, "Remember, classical and quantum physics don't gel." Now,
what does that even mean?
So essentially, what they're saying that classical physics, which is your Newton,
like Beethoven, and
Beethoven, your Newton, that kind of stuff, and quantum physics, which is your
Daft Punk.
Yeah, they don't gel together. Now, like music, it's all subjective. You can get really interesting things if you try and combine them. But classical is useful up to a certain point, right? Classical physics is useful.
Yeah.
So,
this is a bit like saying chemistry and IT don't gel. I mean, well, of course they don't. They're not meant to be the same thing, are they? Quantum physics is a branch of physics that's dealing with things that aren't affected by other physics.
Well, it would be like saying analog and digital don't gel, right?
Yeah.
Like, analog is useful for certain things. Like, I don't think anyone's going to deny that. But digital is also useful for certain things. Like, it's like when they say vinyl is better than CD. Well, vinyl is good if you want good mixing. Like, if you want to have...
For the very first play of it, yes.
Yeah.
And then it deteriorates.
Yeah.
Whereas CD doesn't deteriorate, but it's not good in the first place. So
well, CD does deteriorate. Deteriorates. You can get...
Well, not as fast anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't deteriorate with plays, I think. I think the main deterioration is actually from rust.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which basically destroys the information. But the main reason why people think that vinyl is better than CD is not because of the... it's not because of the inherent quality. It's because that when mixing for vinyl, you have to mix in a much better way. You can't have any clipping with vinyl, because that will... you can't have distortion with vinyl because... Or, I mean, you can, but it's not going to work as well because you may get jumps. So there's a much different mixing process that you need to do for vinyl compared to CD. Which is why...
I'll take your word for it. I've never mixed, so...
I've watched a few videos and I've taken classes which... Like, anyone that knows anything about music knows that the loudness war... I can't... was a bad thing for music, because there's one Metallica album which... well, if you think of Enter Sandman... Enter Sandman has some really nice mixing. However, there's another Metallica album that came out after that, which which sounds like noise, right? Just
Woden Tone just said MC Planet World.
Well, Surapika Pup says no loss, no compression or loss of data. I don't know if... I don't think CD has loss of data. Like, the only loss of data you'd have would be the resolution, and... I mean, if you can tell the difference between like, a bit depth of... What is it? 32 bits? Or 16 and 32 bits, I suppose, but... This is the sound of me getting old. I'm not sure which one. It just sounded... I'm not sure what album it was. It just sounded like sounded like noise. Like, because the mixing was so bad. It was atrocious. Enter Sandman has some really nice mixing. Isn't Wave basically raw data? Or as close to raw data as you can get? Like, I'm pretty sure the closest things to raw data is Wave, FLAC, and ALAC. I'm pretty sure they're the closest things that you can get to raw data.
Anyway, we're getting a bit away from quantum physics here, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was the original topic.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, classical is good for certain things. Like, if you want to measure orbits. Like, classical is generally good for things that we can see. Like, it's really good for that. Quantum is good for really small, tiny things like particles that don't behave in the normal way that you'd expect due to quantum things.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Einsteinians for gravitational observations outside of a gravity well, such as the Earth.
Mm.
Well, I mean, it works inside as well, but you know, it's Newtonian works fine here as well. So, you know, Einsteinian's more for bigger things.
Yeah.
It's about as simply as I can put it.
Yeah, like, quantum physics is really good for small things. Classical is really good for big things. No, it's not the best for, like, when it comes to classical, you've then got on top of that general relativity, which is even better for big things, but takes much more...
For really big things, yeah.
But takes much more processing to get to it. So, you know, if you want a really quick and dirty calculation, then it's, you know, use classical, which is actually fairly good for things like planetary orbits.
Or galaxy orbits around the center of the universe or something.
Yeah. All right. Now here's a question that was left to me on one of my videos. Do you want to read it out?
How little is your brain?
So this was left.
That's my Gumby voice.
So this was left on my video saying there are no forests. There was a video that I responded to saying there are no forests on Flat Earth. Wake up! And I should probably actually in a future live stream I'll probably review it, right? And I actually it actually has some info by Professor Stick in it that I asked Professor Stick about on Twitter. But yeah, like this person left a comment, how little is your brain? It's like, well, I'm pretty sure it's big. Like, if you believe that there are no forests on Flat Earth, then my brain is probably bigger than yours.
How do you even come to that conclusion?
Because apparently forests... apparently the
Forests are fake?
Well, no, apparently the forests that we have now are far smaller than the forests that used to be around, because apparently there used to be giant silicon trees.
But doesn't that mean that there are forests on Earth? Even if they're smaller?
Apparently...
And if the Earth's flat, then therefore there's forests on flat Earth, so how does that... I don't understand.
Apparently apparently the trees used to be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds... Like, apparently the trees used to be like kilometers tall or something like that, and used to be made of... used to be a silicon-based life form or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, like that, the tower that was in Close Encounters in Arizona, I think it was.
Anyway...
That's the stump.
Yeah, like they say that those are trees, and it's like, you fucking idiots, it's not a tree.
Yeah, well, even if it was, I mean, the premise is that there are no forests on flat Earth. So, but there are forests by their own admission. And if the Earth is flat, which is what they think, therefore there are forests on flat Earth. So I just don't get how they come to that. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So 82 Production says that No Forest on FE was admitted as a spoof.
Yeah.
After it was released.
Like, essentially you've got a whole lot of people that believed it, right? And like a flatmate of mine even said this has...
Not people, idiots.
flatmate of mine said, "Oh, I saw this thing. Go onto it with an open mind. You might find it interesting." And he said that he found there was some good stuff in there, and he didn't believe that the Earth was flat or anything. He just has a different mindset when it comes to certain things. And me and another flatmate watched it, and my flatmate was like, "Bro, this doesn't mean anything," you know.
Yeah, it's like when they say research flat Earth. Well, if you research flat Earth, you wouldn't believe in flat Earth. So, I guess they just mean stick in our echo chamber.
Yeah.
And we'll brainwash you.
Anyway, this is the next one. So, this person says, you have a 1% risk of death. Do you prefer a 1% increase? Space question mark. Full stop. Nobody panics when seasonal flu happens. Pussies. Now, I do fear a 1% risk of death. Why? Because that's 1 in 100 people. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but, I mean, it's still like 1 in 100. Like, if you've got a room with 100 people, that means that one person dies. And besides, the risk of death from coronavirus seems to be about 2%, right? So that's...
I thought it was more like 8.
Well, we can actually look right now.
Well, 8% of cases is what I'm getting at. So, yeah, not 8% of the population.
Yeah. This is the...
But, again, you've got to look at age groups as well. And most of the older age groups have comorbidities as well. So if you're in a bad situation, it's not going to help you.
Out of the closed cases, it's 4%. Which is about 1 in 25. Yeah, okay. That's scarily dangerous. I would not want to get coronavirus. Also...
Yeah, well, you don't. It'll give you long-term damage to your lungs as well. You don't want that.
Yeah, like, when it comes to coronavirus, like, I'm not too scared about I'm not scared just because there's a chance of death. Like, going to work every day has a chance of death. Driving has a chance of death, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're young, so your immune system's pretty good. So
yeah, the thing that I'm worried about is the fact that there's not just the prospect of death. There's also the prospect of, there's the prospect that you might get long-term damage. In fact, there are some people that got it ages ago that still haven't recovered.
Yeah.
And they've recovered in the sense that they don't have the virus anymore, but they've basically had long-term damage.
The damage, yeah.
Yeah.
It was that famous actress, I can't remember her name, she got it 5 months ago. She says she's still recovering.
Yeah.
Can't remember her name off the top of my head.
There's also the fact that it doesn't seem like something that would be fun to have. You know, like...
No, it's terrible.
I don't like having the flu.
Yeah.
I just don't. So, yeah. Anyway, let me see if I can...
Well, what they're really getting at here is that, for the flu, we don't shut down everything. So why are we doing that here? And the answer is because if we let it just run right, we're going to lose a lot more than just 1 million people. So
yeah, like... Here's the difference between coronavirus and other viruses. Like, with other viruses, we didn't do a full lockdown. With coronavirus, we have. Now, the big difference here is that coronavirus has still done much more damage than, like, swine flu, I think, or bird flu, right?
Yeah.
And... we took many more precautions for coronavirus. Imagine how much worse it would have been if we hadn't locked down.
Yeah, we've definitely saved a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And that's the price of that is shutting down the economy and, going into debt to pay a lot of welfare and that kind of thing just to keep people going while we're shutting down. But those people are alive as a result. And, is that a good value for money? And I'd say yes.
Unless there is a price of life, which unfortunately that seems to be quite a bit of the philosophy that people have, is that the price of life is whatever, the however much money they're making for them,
Yeah, from a government point of view, it's a real wicked, what we call in business a wicked decision, because people are going to die either way. They have to make a decision in terms of how they're going to respond as to produce the least amount of deaths.
I think that what we need to...
People will still die, though, and that's the sad bit.
I think that what we need to do is we need to work out a different way for society to run, because when it comes to these things, like I don't like this idea that jobs are the most important thing, right? So, for example, you can create jobs very easily, right? Like, let's say that you... Like, here's an idea that I've heard about. Apparently there's these people that were digging somewhere, and they were digging with spades, right? And they were digging up this place, and someone asked, why don't you just, use a digger for it? A digger would be a lot cheaper than employing all these people. And the reason why they don't use a digger is because it creates jobs if they don't have a digger. And then the next day someone comes along and brings a spoon and says, going to create much more jobs if you dig with spoons, aren't you? Like, there's a certain point where jobs just become useless. That's what happened during the Depression. They created all sorts of little projects that didn't really return much productivity, but gave people jobs so they could feed their family, because they didn't really have welfare back in the 1930s. The way we have now. Like, every time I go up to Mount Gravatt to make observations, that road was built during the Depression by a bunch of people with a bunch of spades and picks and things. And there's all over the UK. There's what's called follies, where they just built this sort of monument thing, which is more a monument to a rich person, but he was helping those people with their families and make sure they could feed their families by giving them work to do, even though it was pointless work. But you can only do that for so long, because unless the work is productive and bringing in money, you've got nothing to pay them with. So exactly,
and the governments don't get any tax money from it. So
definitely,
you can't. You can do that for a short term, like in a depression, but you can't do it for long term.
Yeah, when it comes to things like I think that eventually jobs will become one of these things that like you got two options. You got to either continuously create jobs for a changing economy, or you've got to reduce people's reliance on jobs. And I think the best option is number two, because eventually things are just going to be automated and there's not going to be enough jobs, essentially.
I think you're right, but like I said, you whatever is happening out there in the economy has got to be returning enough. Got to be productive enough to return enough revenue so that can be taxed and the government can pay. You're getting onto universal basic income.
Yep.
And so the government's money has to come from somewhere. It has to come from productive people, whether they're robots or actual people. It doesn't really matter. The government's got to be able to tax something that's actually making a profit.
Definitely. Yeah.
It can't tax things that aren't making profits because they don't pay tax.
Exactly. All right, we'll move on to the next comment, because that went on quite a bit of a tangent there.
Oh, it was interesting. So UBI is a bit, as you said, it's inevitable, but how we get there is the interesting bit.
Oh, definitely. So Angie B says, a bit mask loving, eh? Masks aren't that great. We don't need them. CDC numbers prove that. The USA is a large country. Karens are still crazy. Now, she did.
Sure, she's not Karen.
She did get one thing right. Karens are still crazy, but masks are good.
Well, they aren't great in the sense that no one likes wearing a mask. They're not very comfortable and all that sort of thing. But that's irrelevant, really, because that's not why you wear them.
Yeah, you
wear them to be part of society, really.
Yeah, you wear them so that you can do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do if you didn't have a mask, like meet people. Like if you don't wear a mask, you shouldn't be hanging out with people because you can spread the coronavirus.
Stay home. Yeah, and the thing about coronavirus is It's about 2 weeks where you might have it, but you don't know, and you could be spreading it to a lot of people, and that's what stay-at-home's all about. But if you do go out, a mask will help minimise you spreading that, even if you don't know you have it. So that's just being a good citizen, really. Exactly.
And then there is. Do you want to read out this comment? Slow hiding.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up here.
Oh, okay. Slow hiding. Let's see. What sort of voice is it? And we can go a bit Scotty Storm on this one.
Okay.
So we should just wear masks forever just because? Because there are other things we might catch? By the way, the UK has the most deaths per 1 million than almost anyone, including the US. You guys are gullible sheep, and your country is becoming a third world dump. The girl on the counter is also homeless and has mental issues. Fuck you guys, are done.
So this was...
Scotty Storm was perfect for that.
Yeah, so this is in reference to the from 2 weeks ago when we did that Karen time, right? So...
Yep.
Yeah, so I agree. The UK is doing terribly when it comes to the management of coronavirus. But so is the US. Like, US is doing pretty bad as well. Like, just because the UK is doing worse doesn't mean that the US isn't doing bad. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, US is doing better than it was predicted. They're about half the deaths than they said they were going to be. So the measures they've done have saved lives. And they should be, that's a good thing. But yeah, it's probably because the US has broken down too much. It's hard to have a consistent approach to it because Trump had that sort of national council for a while when PPE was scarce, and the purpose of that was to get everything happening, and then he handed everything over to the states.
Yeah,
because that's where the health is managed. But there's so many states in the United States, and you don't get a consistent approach. And unless everyone's doing the same thing, you're going to get pockets happening, and that's where things spread from.
Yeah.
As we've already discussed about Victoria and things like that. So,
but
it's a worry.
But when it comes to this, like, there's only one person that was on the panel that was from the UK, and that was AB Science. Like, you and me were on the panel, and like, you're from Australia, and like, Australia, like, I like the way that Juiced Media put it. In Australia, you guys surprised everyone by not being the shittest for once. Right? And then in New Zealand, we depressed everyone by reminding them that Jacinda Ardern is not your leader.
I don't think leadership's a major factor, really, because how effective any of these measures are depends on individuals and how they respond.
Yeah, like...
as we've seen, whenever there's a protest, that's people not responding in the way they should. They can protest, but just don't do it in person. And that's where things have spread.
Yeah.
But that's not leadership, because that's going to happen regardless of who the government is. And I don't think if you took Jacinda Ardern and made her president of the United States, that the US would be different, because the situation's different.
Yeah, there'll definitely be differences, but I think that when it comes to it, there is a role that leadership plays. It's just not going to be the...
There is a role.
It's
not the defining role, though. Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's definitely...
But people love to poke at the politicians, though, so, that's the way people are going to look at it.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll go on to the next thing. This is the last comment for today, and then we move on to Karen time. So, Homeless Bob says, normally like your content, 2 spaces, but you can fuck off with the masks, with a capital M for masks.
And then a space before the full stop.
Yeah, space, full stop, and then 2 spaces. Safety equals controle.
The French version.
Yeah. Full stop. Double space.
Spanish? I don't know.
I don't, and that don't doesn't have a apostrophe.
An apostrophe, yeah.
Tell people what to do. Space, 2 full stop, space.
So was that an attempted ellipsis?
I don't know. people love to give me a hard time and rassy their voice about me not wearing a mask. And they actually got the...
How can you get wearing wrong?
Stop listening. Turn the TVs off. Enough is enough. And then space...
One with one F, one with two Fs.
Free thinkers are dangerous. No capital. Freedom over controlly. And then it looks like
What?
3 spaces. Holy shit, you just made me rant. Then 2 spaces. Well, cheers. And that's cheers spelt wrong. We can still be friends. No
Again, you wrote this one, didn't you? This is just too much of a parody to be real.
Yeah, I
Who misspells holy? He had to add the A in to get it wrong.
yeah, like Sir Peekapup says, did Planet Walk write this one too? I holy shit! How many soccer accounts did I make again?
Homeless Bob. Well, if he's homeless, how come he's got internet? I guess he's got. How do you afford a phone? Yeah, maybe he's given it. I guess.
I mean, it explains his bad spelling.
Well, you have spell check in these things, don't you?
Yeah, like Google Chrome.
So I don't know
check.
why. Yeah. So why is he gets it so wrong?
Yeah, like just to conclude the chat box travel section. Just wear a mask.
Well,
they're going to help you. Whether it be stopping you from catching the virus or stopping you from spreading it to other people. Like, it often it helps better with stopping the spread. Like, if you're wearing a mask and you've got coronavirus, it stops from spreading to other people. And some people say, if you're not sick, you shouldn't wear a mask, right? When you're not sick... just because you're not sick doesn't mean you shouldn't wear a mask because you may be asymptomatic.
Yeah, you don't know if you've got it or not.
Yeah, and that's why you should wear a mask.
Especially if you care about the people around you. Particularly the older people.
Yeah. Alright, next section is Karen time, in which I will be... I'm just trying to work out where I'm going to go with this.
Well, you got a Karen character, haven't you?
Well, I'm going to be introducing it like it's a video. Because, I'm going to clip it out and put it as its own separate video because,
Well, while you're doing that, I just might make a final comment on Homeless Bob. It was interesting how he said that free thinkers are dangerous, and yet he's arguing against the status quo. So isn't he sort of a free thinker in that regard?
Possibly.
Well, isn't it? Yeah, it's sort of freedom over control, but free thinkers are dangerous. Isn't that free? It's just self-contradictory, that's all.
Yeah, so we've got 5 Karen videos today. So...
Russia's stupid.
Yeah. Alright, so... Ahoy hoy, I'm Planet Walk, and welcome to Karen Time from Russia's Stupid. So, we're gonna start with this Karen here. And... I think this is somebody that's a Trump supporter. I can't remember exactly what they were saying, but let's take a listen to them.
For all you opinionated people on my page, loving a president, loving our country, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and backing the blue, that's political? No, you know what political is? Is when you take the Pledge of Allegiance out of school. Is when you put...
So, saying that you love the president, that is political!
Yes.
Like, that's... Like, how can you get any more political than saying that you love the president? Like, she's an idiot.
Yes. Just, I don't know if it's just me, but I had just heard a whole bunch of echo then. I didn't really understand what you were saying.
I think it's because, I think it's due to voice meters sending you audio as well as this.
Oh, okay, so it's just me.
Yeah,
right.
It'll just be you.
All right, I won't comment again. Ruin the video. You can edit that out.
the kid in the street with a sign that says, fuck the police. That's political. That's when you use our kids, when you indoctrinate them. That's using our kids. Teaching them to love our country, okay? Teaching them to love our American history. Teaching them to respect.
So teaching your kids to love American history, like there's some pretty bad shit that happened in American history, right?
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be forgotten. I don't know if you'd want to love it.
Yeah, like I'm not for telling kids to march in the street during a protest, right? You probably shouldn't use kids for that type of thing. However, if someone is 18 and wants to go march in the streets, that's their right, isn't it?
Well, yes. I prefer them not to do that during a pandemic, but certainly if they're not wearing a mask. But yeah, it's certainly their right.
Yeah.
Police officers, that's not being political. That's the right way to raise your kids. So for people that I offend, too fucking bad. Go hang out with the commies on the left. Go hang out with Commie Cuomo, Dick Blasio, the slur of the house, Chuck the Schmuck Schumer, and the whole fucking Democrat clan. Because that's what they are. They're the fucking clan. They're evil. Trump 2020, motherfucker. Fuck out of here. For all you opinionated people on my...
So, yeah, like, she's not political, guys.
She sounds a bit like CC. A female CC.
A little bit, actually, yeah. Like, maybe she's from New York.
Yeah. Westchester County.
Yeah. Anyway, well, let's move on to the next Karen. This is one that I heard on Team Skeptics, what is it? His gaming channel last night, so it is hilarious. Okay, here. Takes a bit to load these things. Oh.
3 Karens?
Okay. Hopefully it goes now.
Y'all saying Trump is a bad president? Tell me why school shootings were an all-time...
Because there's no school this year. What are we going to do? Stream snipe the Zoom call, bitch?
Y'all say...
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, again, the echo made it hard for me to hear. Can you tell me what she said?
So she said, tell me why school shootings are at an all-time low this year. And then he responded with, because there's no school. What are we going to do? Stream snipe the Zoom call, bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I need to... hold up. I might be able to... if I go change Windows... Right, I'll see if I can... No, I can't. Damn it. I was going to try and change things. No, I can't change it. Fuck.
Oh, just sort of recap after the video, and then you won't have to edit me out saying that I can't hear.
Well, what if I do this? Hold up. That might help. Let me know if this does help though, because. And then we've got this Karen video here. All right, this is how you ruin a wedding. When it finally loads. Here we go. Oh, I just killed my audio by doing that. God damn it.
No, I've still got echo.
This should work. Okay, let's see.
I can't wait for everyone.
Thank you.
You're not going to say my son has flaws.
We can leave.
Perfect. No, I don't have to leave. That dress you're wearing, we paid for.
let's calm down.
You're not going to ruin my day.
You are not going to say my son has flaws.
Wow.
Everybody has flaws, and that's why I love them. You can leave, Judy.
Like you don't have flaws.
So, I think that...
My God.
I think that it's personally... I personally think that it's reasonable to say, oh yeah, you have flaws.
I can't hear you playing a wall.
Oh, really? Shit. God damn it. Like, I'm trying to work out how to... Okay, so I think that it's personally...
I didn't get echo that time.
I think that it's reasonable to say that people have flaws, right?
Yes. But at your wedding?
Well, I think that it's personal. I think that it's perfectly reasonable to say, "Oh, my husband has flaws," right? Or
yes.
The person that I'm going to marry has flaws.
Yes.
And
because they're human.
Yeah, and saying that you'll love someone despite their flaws is perfectly fine. You know, in fact, it's good that you acknowledge that people have flaws because it means that you love them.
You love them regardless.
Yeah, despite their flaws. Whereas if you say, "Oh, you're perfect in every way," well, then disappointment's sure to hurt, isn't it?
And you know you're lying. So.
Yeah. Anyway,
but it's her son's wedding. I mean, of all the times to make a scene.
Yeah, like
shut up, Karen.
Yeah, like be happy for them.
Yeah. I mean, of all the things to pick a point about over either as well, you know. I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
You can get out of my wedding now.
I'm not leaving. That dress you're wearing, I'm paid for.
Get out.
I'm not getting out. Try.
Is she in shorts? The mother-in-law showed up in shorts.
Yes, she showed up in shorts. That is
to a wedding.
Yep. I have seen people. I saw one person show up kind of like that in a wedding, and people thought that he was just a homeless dude, and that was the father of the bride. Showed up and
I can understand it at a beachside wedding or something like that, maybe, and you know that sort of fits with the mood. But this is not that.
Yeah, it looks quite fancy. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's enough of that video.
Yeah.
Because that's the main idea. Don't ruin your kids' weddings if you have kids.
Well, and, you know, you have to... If they are getting married, then that woman's going to have to live with that the bride for the rest of her life, you know? If she want to see her grandkids and that sort of thing. Why would you even do this? It's just crazy.
I think that what happens is she doesn't like the bride. Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think,
but it's kind of a bit late when they're at the altar, you know, getting married.
Pretty much.
So this is kind of pointless.
Yeah, I think that there's basically conflict between the bride and the mother-in-law, and they just don't get along, and this is just another way by the mother-in-law to see if she can sort of ruin the relationship or something, because.
Yeah, but how low a human being do you have to be to do that at the wedding, you know? It's just
pretty low,
beyond
I think.
the pale. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the next video is a racist Karen. Because, yeah, some of the Karens are pretty racist.
Yeah. Never tasteful to watch this sort of thing.
Luckily, she doesn't... Oh... She does say bad things, but she doesn't say anything that's gonna... Well, she might get it demonetized, but, you know. We'll see.
You guys get out of here.
Are you the manager?
Yes. You need to leave. You need to leave. We're not starting.
So, are you the manager? It starts off with a classic Karen moment.
Yep.
Excuse me, but you did say that she needs to go back to her country. What is that?
Native Americans.
Excuse me, this is what this whole world.
White people are not from this country. Don't serve her. Yeah, you do not serve her. Don't serve her racist ass.
You don't tell. No. Continue serving. Continue serving.
You need to leave. You're not a part of this. You need to leave. You're not a part of this. No, you do not come in here and use.
So, you know, people can like, people can stand up for other people, you know? Like, if I saw a Karen in a store, I've never seen a Karen in a store, fortunately. At least not one, at least not recently. Maybe ages ago I did. But, like, you know, if you see a Karen, it's alright to say, hey, look, please don't do this. You're holding up everyone, like myself or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, they're just people making scenes, aren't they?
Yeah. And so anyone can join in. Sorry, but it's a free game.
Yes. And it's more fun.
True.
Because the Karen's not going to end it anytime soon, so you may as well pile in.
Exactly. Anyway, let's continue on with this, because she does say some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've seen this one.
The F word and swear and call me a bitch.
I've never even seen that.
Okay, so she just said, like, don't use the F word and call her a bitch, right? You know,
yeah, I don't recall hearing that.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, she was just telling people to go back to their own country. That's much worse than saying the F word, right?
Yes.
And it sounds like...
Yeah, that's sarcastic, by the way.
It sounds like, right, when it comes to it, that they're American. So they are in their own country. So it's like telling an American to go back to America in America. Well, that's exactly what she's doing. Exactly. It'd be like me.
Absolutely, yeah.
It'd be like me telling another New Zealander to go back to New Zealand whilst in New Zealand.
Yes. Or you North Island scum, go back to North Island. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
mind you, I tell New South Welshmen to go back to Cockroach County all the time. Yeah.
Although you probably do it jokingly.
Well, half jokingly, anyway.
Anyway,
I don't get people who move up to Queensland and then at State of Origin time walk around in Blues jerseys. They're just picking... They're Karens, basically. They're looking for a fight.
Okay, that is fair enough, but, you know.
Yeah.
She is, and you're not a part of that.
That word.
So you get out of here. No. I know. I said she is, and that's why she's leaving. Okay. So you will leave too.
No. This is going all on the internet. You don't know who I am.
All right.
Who appointed her the manager?
Yeah, like, she seems to think that she's the manager because she's telling, all right, I'm telling these people to leave, and because you're butting into it, you can leave. And it's like, well, no, I'm not going to leave. You're not the manager. Anyway.
You told her to go back to her country where she's from.
That's her fault.
Yeah.
You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Where were you born? Where were you born? Where were you born, bitch? I was born in America, bitch. Where are your ancestors from? They're not from this country. You're going back to Mexico.
Who cares where your ancestors are from?
You better go back to where you're from.
You just walked into her.
Excuse me. Hey, bitch. You just touched me. Oh my God.
Yeah, you deserved it. Oh my God. In my opinion. Yeah, you.
Well, I gotta say, that's what you get for getting up in someone's face. Like, she was getting up in her face and pretty much looking for a fight, almost.
Yep. Well, yeah, she put her hand on her, so, you know,
yeah,
the woman was in her rights to retaliate.
Yeah, like,
just don't touch people.
Yeah, if I come up to someone and are getting all in their face saying, go back to your country and stuff, even though they're from the country that we're currently in, then, you know, and I put my hands on them, I can probably expect to get slapped or get punched or whatever.
Yeah, Man Devil says she got Buzz Aldrin, so... But yeah, if you got a crazy person coming at you all angry and then they put their hand on you, you don't know what's going to happen, so you've got to retaliate.
Yeah.
You've got to protect yourself.
Like, I'd probably say, get your hands off me. And if they don't get their hands off me, then I'm generally a pacifist, but sometimes I might retaliate if I think that I'm in danger.
Well, I think also in this situation that the Karen was so much bigger than the other woman. You know, that's a factor as well. I don't think many people would dare do that to me because I'm a big fella. But you know, in this situation, Karen was using her size as part of the intimidation as well. So, you know, a smaller person's going to react more, is going to be more likely to react because they live in that world.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so I haven't seen much of this, but, so hopefully it's not too bad. But this is Karen at a drive-thru, but it is rather quiet from what I remember, so that may be a problem. Hopefully it isn't, though. So, let's play this. Okay, come on, let's... Come on, video, let's work.
Just relax, right? Just
I want my fucking money back! I want my fucking money back!
Give me the food first. Give me the food. Go, leave.
No, I didn't get my fucking coffee!
What? Like, why does she want her money back? Like, it's the person in the car, isn't it?
Well, she got out of the car, didn't she?
It sounds like it's the person in the car up in front that's saying that she wants her money back. I'm confused about what's going on here.
Well, it's a Karen situation. We're always confused about what's going on because it never seems to be anything necessary that has to happen.
True, but I'd still like to know.
And what caused her to be so, you know, such an overreaction? It's sort of surprising.
I don't know.
If I was the guy in the window, I'd say, yes, here's your money back. Go away.
Well, it's just an employee. You know, an employee probably won't be able to... If there's no reasonable reason to give her money back, employee probably can't help you on that. Sorry.
Yeah, you'd have to go to the manager to get the approval of it. You know, otherwise, it's coming out of the employee's pocket. He doesn't want that.
Exactly.
Or she. But yeah, the way she reacted, that sort of says that when she was a child, she learned that throwing temper tantrums got what she wanted, right? And her parents didn't teach her that that's not going to be the case. And she's carried it on into adult life.
Yeah. Well, let's continue and see what else there is in this video.
We can make you your coffee, that's what I'm saying.
Leave now. Leave. Fucking leave.
What's your name? Tell me your fucking name.
Leave.
What is his name?
Cheyenne,
What's his name? What is his name? Because he is getting reported.
Oh my God.
What's your fucking name?
Oh,
okay.
That's at the car door.
Why did she open the car door and still stick her head out the window?
Yeah. I thought she was a huge woman for a minute because it's not very clear, the picture. So.
Like if you open the car door, there's no reason for you to stick your head out the window.
Oh, I think it might be just because the door doesn't open enough for her to talk to the window, but the drive-through window. But yeah,
possibly
because it looks pretty close. It looks pretty close. She went to get out and then realised she couldn't open the door enough.
Yeah, but still, like, you shouldn't stick your head through the window if you're opening the door.
Yeah.
Like, just close the door then.
Yeah. Yeah, take a step back, but I don't think she wanted to take a step back. But yeah.
Yeah, she's trying to get
so she could close the door.
Confrontational and all that, isn't she?
Yeah. Also, it's a shield too. I guess she must feel a bit of comfort from it.
Possibly. Anyway, there's just a little bit more to this video, so we'll finish it off, and then, yeah.
You're a piece of shit, bitch!
Cheyenne!
You fucking piece of shit!
Cheyenne, leave right now! Leave!
Okay.
Well, the employees probably shouldn't have yelled at her, but...
Yeah, like, so when it comes to the employees, they shouldn't have yelled at her, but at the same time, like, she was being a nuisance.
It was an exceptional situation, yes.
Yeah. I think that there's times, like, the employees should be trying to handle things calmly. I think we can all agree on that. However...
But they also don't deserve that either.
So. Yeah. They're just an employee. You know? Like,
yeah, trying to do their job.
Yeah. So, you know, you shouldn't yell at employees because employees aren't Like, yelling at an employee is probably the worst thing that you can do to get things done, essentially.
Yep.
But anyway, that's it for Karen time today. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked that video. And also, this is part of the Russia Stupid... is it a podcast or what? I don't know what...
Live stream.
Live stream, yeah. And
with special guest, Hugh Jarsz.
Yeah, so, you know, if you like this, I do it every fortnight, and so make sure you join. Between you and me, thank you for watching. And, alright, so, I think that brings us up to the end of the stream, because you have to leave in half an hour, don't you?
No, it's more than that.
Oh, more than that?
Daylight savings thrown us out.
Okay, so it's daylight...
I've got an hour and a half or so.
Okay. Well, in that case, we might go to... the
Reddit stuff?
Yeah. Cult... It's called Cult Headquarters with a Q as the sort of... as the C instead. So... Here we've got, so I think this is about Q stuff. Q posters, essentially. Apparently a family member, a cultist, so when we say cultist, it means like people that are Q posters. And apparently they unironically shared this. I'm mad about something I never researched.
Well, it describes Flat Earth, doesn't it?
Yeah, describes...
And those conspiracy nuts.
Describes Flat Earth, anti-vaxxers.
5G nuts.
Yeah, 5G
like
nutters.
Mark Steele.
Yeah, all those people. It describes them perfectly. Is there any... I'm just going to check if there's any more to this image. No.
And of course, the word research there is, we mean it in the real sense. They have a different definition of research, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
We mean effectively research, not just looking at a few videos.
Yeah. So here we go. This person said Rothschild controls the world's central banks, and everyone they give money to are basically their financial puppets for life. And then this person says, like, when they gave millions to Trump to keep his business open. No, and then they just get mad. I find that it's...
A special guest, Dead Kennedy in space there.
Yeah, like... He has that thing, doesn't he? But,
yeah.
But when it comes to these things, like, yeah, when it comes to a lot of people that say, oh, you know, there's green, like climate change deniers say, oh, there's green incentive to lie about climate change, or financial incentive to lie about climate change, but then there's also financial incentive to lie about climate change being false. Right? In fact, there's probably more financial incentive to lie about climate change being false, because we know that there's a memo shared around in Exxon, I think it was, to lie about climate change because it would be bad for business.
Yeah. It's the fall of Rome situation, isn't it? Where everyone looked after their own interests, and as a result, the whole of society fell.
Yeah.
And therefore, their own interests disappeared.
Yeah, so then there's this one.
I love the way they misspelled two. One of the simplest words in the English language is to spell, and they misspelled it. They spelled T-O-O instead of T-O. You actually have to do more work to spell it wrong than spell it correctly.
Yeah, alright, so some of these I don't actually understand. Oh, okay, this is not The Rock. He was executed by military tribunal this year, and the cabal is using his likeness to help elect these idiots. Don't fall for it. And yeah, like, of all the secret body double stories these Q people pull out, someone doubling The Rock's body is by far the funniest. And yeah, that is hilarious.
Yeah, there wouldn't be too many body doubles for The Rock. In fact, I don't know how they do with these stunts and things, how they do it so that it looks like it's him.
Yeah, like...
because they'd have to have a suit built on him to make him look as big as him. So
probably, yeah, because The Rock is huge. Like, have you seen those muscles?
And
I'm convinced.
And he. I was just going to say, he's said in movies, he was asked, how do you get a body like that? And he says, well, you work out for 4 to 6 hours a day, every day, for 20 years. So there's not many people who've done that.
Exactly. All right, what do we have?
He's monetized those muscles too. So
okay, let's see. There we go. See full tweet. So I want to see the full image. Load. There we go. So it's on Twitter, so we'll go to that because this person says, you heard it here, folks. Watching TV gives you COVID-19. And so this person...
Oh, God.
And this person says, do cows and rocks wear masks? Think about it. Question, can you explain why COVID-19 is not spreading to the Amish community? Answer, they do not watch television. This virus is a disease of our mind. Let's get let's get our lives back. So, that
is so stupid it gave me brain cancer. Trying to think about it.
So, firstly, like, if it hasn't spread to the Amish community, then the reason for it would be because they're isolated. Social distance.
That's the whole point of them.
They stay the fuck at home. And then the second thing is, do you really think the Amish are going to get tested for COVID-19? Do you really think they're going to do that?
Oh, I'm not sure they're against cotton buds, but anyway. But cows and rocks wear masks? Well, they're not... The virus doesn't go into cows and rocks.
Yeah.
So why would they, even if... Yeah, why would they? It's just so stupid, I can't even think about it.
Yeah, and then there's a Q sign there, which has a Trump 2020 flag on it.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah, like, they're basically supporters of QAnon.
It always amazes me that conspiracy nuts, one of the things they always say is think about it. The thing is, they only think so far. They don't critically think, for a start. It's, like I said, it's too hard for my brain to it's so stupid, I can't even comprehend how stupid it is.
Yeah. It's definitely... It is one of them things which it's like, what? Okay,
yes, that poor tree is being misrepresented against its will. Equal rights for trees. Protect trees from coronavirus. Trees don't watch television, and they don't get coronavirus, so, that must be true.
What the... Attention patriots, the real Donald Trump has been taken prisoner by the deep state. They've replaced him with a body double for the debates. And then Trump asked about abortion after nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Alright.
Well, it's obviously not Trump.
Q page writes fanfics about Bill Gates, right? So, human meat found in 90% of the factories making deliveries to McDonald's. FBI said a lot of the meat came from children. Coincidence? Bill Gates is also in the meat business. Missing children from Epstein's Island? You didn't know you were ordering a hamburger. Like, what? So,
and they offer no evidence, they just state it.
Yeah, like, where's the evidence coming from? Like, this is why here's one of the things why conspiracies are so hard to debunk. Like, general conspiracies. The reason why is because they'll state something without a source, right? They'll say something like, human meat found in 90% of the factories making deliveries to McDonald's. FBI said a lot of the meat came from children, right? Did the FBI really investigate that? Now, they say it came from the FBI. Source. Like, where did the FBI say this? And then they'll probably just link something that's else that says it. But they'll never get to the actual source. And it's...
well, even if you do, almost always they've misinterpreted something to suit themselves.
Yeah. Even if there is... even if it is something like that, they might say, okay... you know, it might be something completely taken out of context, or it might be like a single factory, rather
it's
than
Photoshop because it has to be, you know.
Yeah,
Flirts jump on that.
Like, for example, human meat found in 90% of the factories making deliveries to McDonald's could be that could be like a little, maybe it's a tiny bit of meat. That's like
someone lost a finger or something.
Yeah, someone lost a finger in a factory, and that has happened in 90% of the factories. Now that does mean that there's things that needs to be done about that, like
yes,
like if let's.
But it seems very unlikely, though.
Yeah, like let's say that this is true. Let's say that what they're saying here is true about human meat is found in 90% of the factories making deliveries to McDonald's, and FBI said a lot of meat came from children. So, first off...
That's a big stretch.
Yeah. First off, that could mean that human meat found is just a finger, 90%. Now, that doesn't mean that they need better working conditions. And if the meat came from children, then obviously they need to... But essentially, they need to... you know, change their work ethic, because hiring children is not good. But it could be...
How can you tell it's from children anyway? I guess you could do a DNA test and look at the telomeres or something.
Possibly, yeah. Like, but you know, there's a whole lot of things. Like, I don't think that any of this is true.
No,
it could be that it could be right that human meat. Most of the adult meat is fingers, and one time a child fell into a vat or something.
Probably the most likely explanation I can think of is that the mafia are hiding the bodies this way. But you know, again, that seems incredibly unlikely. It just might be the most likely out of a whole lot of incredibly unlikely.
Yeah, and that's assuming that what they're saying is true.
Yeah, which is very unlikely.
Yeah.
Because they've offered no evidence. You know, Hitchens raised their replies. They offer no evidence for this claim, so therefore it can be dismissed without evidence.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go down to... When you order Scientology off Wish.com, and then it's people with QAnon t-shirts. No, what is this? What is this WWGIWGA? What the hell is that?
Sorry, what you see is what you get? What, like, where is it?
WWGIWGA.
Oh.
It's like Woogie Wigger.
What would... Yeah, what would is probably the first two W's, but it'd be a guess for the rest of it.
Yeah. I could search it up. Like,
GIWGA. Yeah, Google it.
I'll Google it in Chrome so that if there's something...
Or is it, maybe that's a Q rather than a G? What would Q something?
WWGIW... Okay, here we go. Meaning... Oh, apparently the I is actually a 1.
Yeah, that G could be a Q.
Where we go one, we all go. Okay. Apparently it was... so it's basically been co-opted by the QAnon movement because it was inscribed on the bell on JFK's boat. And so, yeah, it's... Essentially, the phrase has been co-opted.
God, they're down the rabbit hole, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Alright. Oh, here's something. No, I probably shouldn't look at that.
More donkey porn? Jeez.
Okay, well, this seems like something. So, it says most QAnon followers writes like ISIS and Al-Qaeda followers. The comment section of this video gives me 2014 ISIS propaganda vibes. So one person says, we agree that the Deputy F Antifa, we are just waiting for the word, then it will be open season on Antifa and BLM with no limit. What?
Jeez.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, it does seem crazy. And another person says...
Well, also the comparison between this and Al-Qaeda and everything, that reminds me of looking at rocks and seeing a human heart or a face or something like that. It's just things that look like things. It's a coincidence. It doesn't mean it's the same.
Mm. But this person...
So the whole premise is idiotic. So
yeah. And this person says, November 3rd, President Trump is re-elected, and then November 4th, the Great American Purge will start, and bye-bye Antifa and BLM clowns. Okay, this is actually... like, I thought that The Purge was a movie. I didn't realize that it would actually become real life. It seems like that's what some people actually want, is The Purge.
I think it's flawed logic anyway, because Trump's in power now. Why aren't you doing it now?
True. I think...
why would you have to wait till he be re-elected? That makes no sense.
I find it stupid how some people are saying, oh, Trump 2020, and then Trump 2024, and then Trump 2028, and then Trump 2032.
Yeah, like, it doesn't work that way.
You know what that is? That's a fucking dictatorship.
It would be, yes. Well, it's illegal for a start. And second of all, he's an old man. He's probably not going to last that long.
Yeah. Still a dictatorship. And I thought they were against the commie dictators and all that.
Well, they like the dictators that they like, of course.
Yeah, they're for the fascist dictators. They just don't like the commie dictators.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with a fascist the other day. They're stupid.
You actually met one? I've never met one.
It was online. They were unironically a fascist. Like, they thought that like Hitler was good and all that. So yeah, they're an idiot. What the? Drink the
the QI-aid. It's Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
you know, like Jonestown. And that's the corporate logo for Kool-Aid. Yeah, we're not American, so we don't know it so much. We've seen it on The Simpsons, though.
Well, I know what the Kool-Aid thing is, but like, I think this might be against Q. I think it might be against Q because
yes,
like
Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Not the deep state.
Yeah.
I just don't... I mean, in conspiracy nuts in general, how do they get themselves so worked up that they come to these ridiculous conclusions that, you know, don't stand up to any scrutiny? It just amazes me.
Yeah. And this holy shit, this is the exact thing that we talked about earlier. Like, the exact same thing. The professional protesting stuff. So yeah, like, is there anything else here?
There isn't a lot anyway. Nothing real
okay,
anyway.
so this is alright, so it says here, it's obvious QAnon has a lot of Karen's essential oil pyramid scheme energy and would definitely suck up to the same types of people who would get into multi-level marketing scams. And yeah, like I agree with that. Then this person says, Karen calls the police. I assume you're the type to call police when someone isn't wearing a mask, Karen.
Karens are actually the opposite up. They're usually anti-maskers, aren't they?
Yeah, Karens are generally anti-maskers that call police on black people. And then this person says, and of course it's a white man Karen-splaining for us. And then this person says, did I call the police? Nope, I never call them. Handle it myself, boy.
Oh, boy is actually a racist term in America.
Oh, really? Oh, I think...
Yeah, because the slaves were referred to as boy.
Oh, okay. And this person says, cool, since you like saving kids, you can tell President Trump to stop continuing Obama's drone strikes on Yemen and Pakistani children. You like saving children, right? I like that. I like that, and I think that's a good place to end up here, because we've been going for, I think, 2 hours and 50 minutes, so it's nearing the 3 hour mark.
Well, you put up with me for 3 hours, gee.
Yeah, hopefully next week we can finally get FTFE and Team Skeptic. Maybe. I don't know if Team...
Get the B team in, yeah.
Yeah. I do think that next week we will be having Simon Dan on, though. I'm pretty sure that's something that's happening next... not next week,
awesome.
But because it's fortnightly, it's not next week, but the week after. And I don't know what to do...
Fortnightly is every 2 weeks, by the way, because not everyone in the world knows what fortnight means.
Yeah, some people just think that it's a video game.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what to do for a live stream next week. I might actually go ahead and review the video that I made on There Are No Forests on Flat Earth or something like that. Or if someone wants to debate me, I actually have some good hot takes for a debate if anyone wants to debate me. Some really hot takes, some spicy hot takes. So that could be something that I could do.
We like it spicy.
Yeah. Anyway, leave a like and subscribe if you like that stream. Leave a comment letting me know what if there's anything you want me to do in the next streams. Between you and me, thank you for watching. Maybe just click over there.
Jessica's got a good suggestion. Bait McFlatty again.